hear you.
Following the agenda. We have our public hearing tonight. The Village of Romeo will be receiving $2,500 in Community Development Block Grant Funds for the fiscal year 2022. Should that say 23?
It started in 22.
From the Macomb Urban County Program. Federal guidelines require that maximum priority be given to activities which primarily benefit low or moderate income families or which aid in the prevention of elimination of slums or blight. A variety of projects are eligible for community funding, and there's a list of those that they include. Do we have anybody here tonight to speak on behalf of? Go ahead.
I have a couple materials, if that's okay.
Sure.
Pass those down.
Sure. Thank you.
Is this on? Good evening, my name is Stacy Conti. I am the Community Outreach Coordinator at Interfaith Volunteer Caregivers. With the number of older adults in Macomb County rapidly increasing, the need for support services due to frailties of age, chronic health conditions, or disabilities is growing dramatically and will continue to do so well into the future. For 30 years, our organization has been providing free basic assistance to hundreds of low-income, frail, older, and physically challenged adults, helping them remain safely in their homes with the help of over 200 volunteers. Such assistance has been helping older and disabled adults with transportation, chores, respite breaks, errands, and loneliness. These opportunities provide fulfilling experiences for those who wish to volunteer, as well as support for those in need. The CDBG Safe at Home project of IVC is part of our larger chore and repair program for older and disabled adults. The project was developed to provide additional chore and repair services in communities that allocate funding for this purpose. The project allows us to assist low to moderate income seniors and physically challenged adults with indoor and outdoor chores, minor home repairs, and routine housekeeping. We identify individuals who cannot do these tasks on their own and with limited resources, and prioritize those with the greatest need. We are requesting the CDBG funds to increase the number of low-income citizens we can reach, to grow our program, as well as to coordinate the volunteers who do these services. In 2022, we were able to serve 470 clients, with almost 200 being served through the Safe at Home program. While we have been able to support a few residents of Romeo over the years, we would love to expand our support, including the Safe at Home project, further into this community. With funding received from Romeo for this current program year, we are working to offer this important support and service to Romeo residents. We hope for continued funding for the 2023 and 2024 program year so that we can continue to build momentum and offer the service to more of those in need into the future. The appreciation for the assistance is heartwarming from seniors such as a woman who we helped install a new toilet who did not have one that functioned, as well as another senior who we helped declutter her home and take donations to the Salvation Army. Other examples of help through this project may be replacing locks, washing windows, and installing smoke alarms. With the CDBG funding, this project can grow and assistance can be granted to a variety of lower income Romeo citizens and disabled adults. Thank you to the board, everyone here tonight for your consideration and for the funds granted to us in previous years from Romeo. Any dollar amount granted is greatly appreciated, and we hope to continue to partner with you going forward. If you know of any seniors who might need to utilize our services, feel free to go on our website, ivcinfo.org, or call our office. There's brochures in your packets with our number. And at this time, I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else here?
Hi, my name is Diane Himmelsbaugh, and I'm from Samaritan House, and I've been a volunteer and on the board for 15 years, and we requested some funds too, especially for this year because the prices of food have really gone up. Utilities, everything is but I don't know if you want to hear all that. But I know our director has also sent a letter in explaining everything that we've done in the past year and the dollar amounts with how much we've spent for just the residents in Romeo. So if you'd like to hear that, I can go ahead with that. Otherwise, we would just appreciate any help that you could give us, but we would really appreciate it if you could give us the requested amount was $1,500.
I did include that letter I received from your.
Did you?
Yes, so it's in here for it.
Do you need any other information?
Anybody have questions? Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And I thought I saw one more hand. Come on up.
Good evening, my name is Abby Jalai. I'm a forensic interviewer and crisis counselor at Care House. Care House is the Macomb County Child Advocacy Center, and our main office is located in Mount Clemens, and we also have a satellite office that is located in Warren. Care House is the only agency in Macomb County that provides comprehensive services for child victims of sexual abuse, physical abuse, or children who have witnessed a violent act, as well as their non-offending family members. Our goals are to minimize trauma for child victims of abuse and to also support the child victim and their non-offending family members throughout the investigation and the prosecution and beyond. Care House is an accredited member of the National Children's Alliance and one of over 800 in the United States. Care House collaborates with all the law enforcement jurisdictions within Macomb County, as well as the FBI, Homeland Security, and Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or also known as ICE. We also collaborate with Children's Protective Services and the Macomb County Prosecutor's Office, and then we also collaborate with the medical and mental health professionals within the community. Care House offers intervention and support services for child victims and their parents, intervening to promote healing and helping families to cope with the emotional stress and trauma that is caused by not only the acts of abuse, but also by the investigative process. And these services include the coordination of forensic interviews, as well as interviews themselves, crisis counseling, child safety assessments, parent and child support groups, trauma-focused therapy sessions, and family advocacy, as well as another number of services. The families that come to Care House are never charged for all of the services that they do receive. And just some statistics that we have is that since our opening in 1996, we have conducted over 10,000 child forensic interviews, and 99 of those children have been residing within the village of Romeo. And then in 2021, we provided 728 forensic interviews, with 4 of those children residing in the village of Romeo. And then last year in 2022, we conducted 704 interviews, and 8 of those children resided in the village of Romeo. We do depend on the support from the community to provide a voice for children victims and a safe place for them to be heard. We are very grateful for the $250 that we had received last year through the CDBG funding from the village of Romeo, and also for your longstanding support. We are respectively requesting your consideration for funding this upcoming year in the amount of $2,400 in support services for 4 qualifying child victims and their families that reside within the village of Romeo. But of course, we would be grateful for any amount that we are able to allocate from you. And I'm happy to answer any questions anyone has.
Any questions? Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Do we have any representatives here to speak at this time? Okay. We will close the public hearing.
Oh, is this a public, is this the public hearing section?
No, this is specifically for this block grant. We'll get to, public comment is coming. Okay, now we open our Board of Trustees regular meeting, and we do the call to order, or the call of order. Roll call. Pledge allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bartholomew,
Here.
Edwards,
Here.
Fowler,
Yes.
Parker,
Here.
Rosso, President Pavlinsky.
Here.
We have 5 present.
And Shelley did call me this evening about 5 o'clock to let me know that she's very sick. So she really wished she could be here, and she thought about coming, and I told her absolutely not, none of us want, and she has. So that is Shelley. Move into our consent agenda. We have our minutes, our special meeting minutes, closed session meeting minutes. So we have 3 sets of minutes. We have our council bills in the amount of $1,181,990.92, and then $43,979.36, and then our meeting agenda. Do we need to pull things out?
I'd like to pull out the current agenda first,
Okay.
and just request that we could switch special presentations, so Purple Heart could go first, for time issues.
Okay, so just swap our audit and our Purple Heart.
Yes, please.
Okay. And then I do have an addition request to our agenda here. You received, as part of the stuff on our table when we got here, a email from the DDA. They are requesting, I will just read it to us, per the attached, it has been requested that the Romeo Winterfest 2023 be added to the agenda under unfinished business for the village council meeting tonight at 7. And then you have the letter attached. So if we could put that in our unfinished business. Ooh. You want to put, I mean.
Change request also. If we could put A and J, make that A on our new business, so that the people who mostly are here for that don't have to wait so long for that to be taken care of.
So move J and K to the top,
Yes,
and move everything down.
yes.
Anybody else for the agenda? Can we do these separate and do a motion to, or do we want them all together?
You guys are satisfactory with everything you do one.
I have a couple of questions there, Jill.
Oh, okay. And then you just do it by item.
On the Bruce Township Fire Department, I see the 567,100. Is that the payment for the fire LS and the late payment fee too,
Yes,
included?
yes,
So that's paid in full right now at this time?
that is correct.
And Carolyn Miller, on the, is that a reimbursement for the 2293?
Yes, that was mileage for a meeting she went to. She did not take the village vehicle, she took her own vehicle.
And the Chase credit card services, what are those? Just same bills or?
I believe, no, it's mostly office supplies.
Office supplies?
There might have been a license on there for the DPW, where we have a renewal for a membership that they're part of my deal, my Michigan. The name escapes me right now, but I know that was on there, paid online, and the rest was just office supplies.
Like, in the future, can you just be a little more descriptive when you're
Yes,
using our credit cards?
yes, and I have that with me.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
And my last question is on the, there was a discussion last month regarding us picking up the tab for some work that was done by Rowe Engineering. Is that bill, has that bill gone out to Tire Associates?
Yes, an invoice has been requested of our accountant to be sent.
Okay, so,
Whether it's been done or not, I didn't confirm, but I did request that of our accountant.
Okay, so you requested the information, the billing has gone out, it has not gone out?
I requested that the invoice be created and sent.
Created.
If it's been done yet, I did not ask her for it.
Okay. Catherine, you haven't processed anything yet this time?
No, not at this time. As far as the payment, no.
Or reimbursement, right?
Correct. No, no funds have come.
Have we paid that bill yet, or to Rowe Engineering, or?
Did we get the complete resolution?
Well, that is part of what we approved the last month
Yes.
in our, making that amendment, and moving the money from last year's budget to this year's budget.
Okay.
And unfortunately, we continue to have things rolling in
Okay,
regarding,
all right, I'm good.
pretty much regarding all of the projects that are out, we continue to have ancillary things.
Unforeseen things that keep popping up,
Yes.
and you'll keep us posted on those unforeseen?
Yes. Because at this point, we are at our budget max, so anything that would need to continue to come out for any of those would need to be a request.
That's what I was worried about, is where,
Our sidewalk extension, we're at like 211 and we approved 215, or we're at 205 and we approved 211, something like very close. So there's a little bit extra in there to still fulfill of what we've already approved, but anything over that amount, and the other ones, would come back to the council.
I know it's one of our construction costs, is there's a change order, basically in place. Like from the Church Street property, there's a change order there to sidewalks and
With the extension, part of what that was is they only quoted for, I'm gonna throw it out there, 4 inches of concrete,
Yeah.
but when they got there and saw the driveway and dug it out, it was, say, 6 inches. So then they needed extra concrete, it was cold, they needed extra additive, they needed all the different things it took to,
Okay, I
so the
understand.
specs weren't,
Just watching our money.
yes,
All right,
absolutely.
Thanks.
I had one question on that same, is the 2 charges to Able Tree, was that stuff that we discussed last fall? It's like
The council had
42,000.
approved $40,000.
Yeah.
Can you show me where it was?
There's 2 on there, 34 and then an 8.
It should not have gone over 40. I gave,
So it's 42 total.
One of those might be cemetery. We had a late bill come in, I'm not sure off the top of my head. So I was prepared to bring that. Didn't know that was gonna be in question. There was a tree service that was recently paid for by the cemetery board. I don't know if that's
because
the
I
same
literally,
in
I
that.
gave our payroll, they were $8,000, 5 days of $8,000. It came to exactly our 40.
Okay.
So that must be,
Yeah,
I don't know the answer to what that extra is.
All right, can we bring
Could be
clarification
cemetery.
next month and send an email this week or something? Just like-
The other 2,000 was for the cemetery bill.
It was the cemetery.
The
There-
8,000?
No, 2,000.
Okay.
There
I
was-
don't see it too. I just see 34 and
34 and
8.
8, for Able Tree.
So maybe they combine bills or
Because there
something.
should have been
Yeah.
five bills for 8.
Right.
There was one for 2, and then another one for 8, that was for the DDA.
Okay. Just get clarification, that'd be great.
Break it down.
More than that?
Just to get where, how this divided up, because all I see is 34 and 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
Break it down.
And that's just Able Tree though?
Yeah, that's, yeah.
Yeah, 8 was back, 8, 35,000.
Yeah.
Anything else on our consent? We've gone through the agenda and the bills, any other?
Minutes from the 19th.
Okay.
4th page, just, I think more clarifier, but just to clarify it. Top of the page talks about motion by Poznanski, second by Fowler, DDA lease with 30-day notice. I forgot the word day.
Okay.
That was it.
Okay, any other minutes?
I'm good.
Okay, make sure your closed session meeting minutes do get back to Catherine, please, by the end of the meeting. And Someone will make a motion to approve the minutes as presented and the council vendor bills and the amounts and approval of agenda with adjustments.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes and agenda.
Second.
This is just agenda and minutes, you said?
Bills?
Yes.
Including bills?
Oh, yeah, I got you. I got it right on that. And the council and vendor bill report in the amount of, someone read that for me? I can't see today.
$1,181,990.92.
Wow.
And then $43,979.36.
Yes, and with those amounts. Wow.
I got it.
Need glasses. Start bringing them. Combine with yours. This is a report.
Did you roll call?
Yep. Parker,
Yes.
Fowler,
Yes.
Bartholomew,
Yes.
Edwards,
Yes.
Poznanski.
Yes.
Session.
Motion carries 5-0.
We haven't had closed session yet, though.
Yeah,
Yes.
Oh,
from the 19th. There you have one.
Okay, moving on. I do have one correspondence here. It came in this evening.
We're at special presentation, Madam
Oh,
President.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Special presentation, our Purple Heart.
You're out.
Go ahead, you are up.
Good evening, I'm Susan Howard. I'm the Senior Vice President of the VFW Auxiliary at the Stryber-McVicker Post, just outside of town. We are here tonight to ask and follow up on a letter that I submitted in November to ask Romeo to become part of the Purple Heart Trail. There isn't much involved in this. You simply have to contact a local chapter and ask them to help you do a proclamation. That proclamation is then read into the minutes of a meeting here, and everybody is acknowledging then these veterans that gave all, or at least were injured at the hands of the enemy in a conflict. I have with me tonight the commander of our post, Troy Kossel. He is wanting to speak also, but before he does, I just wanted to show you this. This is a list of how many places in Michigan are on the Purple Heart Trail. Now, I know from going to school here in the Romeo schools, way back when, that Romeo is a community of heart. Wouldn't it be awesome if we could take that heart and put us on the Purple Heart Trail? For those of you who have never seen a Purple Heart, this is a Purple Heart that my husband earned just outside of Quezon in Vietnam. He was wounded on April 28th, 1969. For him, going into a community that has a sign or a garden that is dedicated to these Purple Heart veterans, it means a lot. They see this and they know that someone cares. Thank you. I'll turn it over to Troy.
didn't we approve that?
We tabled till they
It
get
was
speak.
tabled.
Oh,
Hi, my name's Troy Kozel. I'm the commander of the Stryber-McVicker Post 2052, the VFW, right here in Romeo. I served in Iraq from 2004 through 2005 for 15 months. I went back in 2009 for another year, and then I spent a year in Afghanistan. Part of being a veteran in a community that supports us is really important. I have 4 children here in the Romeo schools, and they know what it is to serve in the military and to be a transitional family that comes into a village that supports them. Their Purple Heart is awarded in the name of the President of the United States to those who have been wounded or killed while serving. Prior to the Purple Heart, service members were awarded the Badge of Military Merit. Exactly 200 years after the birth of George Washington on February 22nd, 1932, the Department of War enacted the Purple Heart as an award. During World War II, 1.5 million Purple Hearts were produced with the anticipation of invading Berlin and then Japan. Thankfully, we didn't have to use all those Purple Hearts. To this day, the same Purple Hearts that are awarded to service members who served with me in Iraq and Afghanistan are the ones that were produced during World War II. The reason Romeo should be known as a Purple Heart community and on the Purple Heart Trail is to honor and remember its military personnel wounded or killed in combat by hostile forces. I'm asking that you allow us the honor to honor those Purple Heart recipients and their families that live here and have given us so much, sometimes at the expense of their lives. Please support us in making Romeo part of the Purple Heart Trail. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions? And just in case anybody wants to know, there's only 2 communities in Macomb County. Armada, which just happened last September, and Warren.
I would just like to say thank you.
Thank you.
We just wanted to see you here.
And we do have this on our agenda later in the evening to approve or to move forward if the board should choose.
What do we need to do, Madam President?
We're gonna, it's on the, later we'll
Okay.
make a motion to move forward or. Till they can be.
Here's the list of chapters that are local.
Okay, so we can follow up. Okay.
And there is a commander in the whole entire U.S. that's in charge of the trail.
Thank you so much.
So next we have our audit presentation, and generally we would like to have our auditors here. It just didn't work out that they could make it. So we are trying to Zoom it.
Totally loading him up right now.
I don't know. Might need to call in.
What's his boss's name?
I'm going to try to call in.
Are we able to get him just on like a speakerphone so he can talk?
Can we keep moving on the agenda until he shows up?
No, it's not
No,
him.
he's there.
It's us.
Oh, it's us.
It's on our end.
Something's wrong with our audio.
I'm trying to call in, so it will be.
I'm just texting him right now, letting him know where we're at, getting in.
Technology.
Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Is this gonna work, you guys?
I don't know if they can hear or
I
not.
know.
Can you put the microphone down on it?
I don't know. Okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Is that better? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, go ahead. We can hear you.
All right, sounds good. So, let me see here. So are you just dialed in with a phone then? There's no projector or anything?
No.
We do have a projector. We're kind of double duty right now. I have a phone call and a projector going because I can't get the audio from the computer to work.
Oh, okay, got it. So I think what I'll do then is I'll go ahead and share my screen. And
Okay, we got you. We see it.
awesome, cool. All right, so ready to get things rolling then?
Yes. Go right ahead.
All right. All right, everybody. So my name's Richard. I'm with Gabriel Company, and I'm just here to present your audit this evening. And really, what I'd like to do is just really step through the audit and kind of just guide you to where some of the key points and figures are. Show you, I guess, just what some of the key sections of the report are, and then I can take some questions from council at the end of that. So if everybody has their audit report in front of them, they're free to follow along. I'll do my best to call out the page numbers here. Let's see here. So I'm going to go ahead and start on, it'll be page 1 down at the bottom here. So this is the independent auditor's report. It's really the, in addition to having a set of financial statements, it's really like the end product report over the whole audit engagement. And these paragraphs here, these first 2 paragraphs, are arguably the most important parts of the audit. And what they say is that we've audited the financial statements of the governmental activities, business type activities, the discretely presented component unit, each major fund, and the aggregate remaining fund information of the village as of June 30th, 2022. And then we go on to state that, in our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the financial position of those opinion units that I just mentioned as of June 30th, 2022. This used to be referred to as a clean opinion. It's now referred to as an unmodified opinion. It's the highest level of opinion you can have, and it's the ideal end result of an audit. So that's certainly, it does speak to management's ability to be able to adequately provide information as it's needed. And again, job well done there. So as a part of this report, there's some required supplementary information that starts on page 5. And this is the management's discussion and analysis section. And also to council members, if at any point you'd like to stop and ask a question, you are more than welcome to chime in. So this management discussion and analysis section is really like a Cliff Notes version of the audit report. It does have a set of condensed financial information in it, but it does go through and it provides some narrative as to the reasons for some of the changes and also points out some of the key figures. So some of these financial highlights here, the assets and deferred outflows of the village exceeded liabilities and deferred inflows at the close of the most recent fiscal year end by $9,776,273. That amount is stated in the audit report as net position. Of that amount, a deficit of negative $2,821,616 represents the unrestricted net position. During the year, the village received $8,120,939 in revenues, and it incurred $5,908,125 in expenses. And this resulted in an increase to net position of $2,212,814. Close of the current fiscal year, the village's governmental funds. So the governmental funds are the general fund, major streets, local streets, your ARPA fund, etc. Those funds recorded a combined fund balance of $6,243,485. This was an increase of $918,679 in comparison with the previous year. Approximately 52.9% of that amount is available for spending at the government's discretion. That's the unassigned fund balance figure. At the end of the current fiscal year, unassigned fund balance for the general fund was $3,303,187, or approximately 96.1% of total general fund expenditures and transfers out. So what this section begins here with is just describing what sorts of financial statements you'll see in this report. It talks about the government-wide financials, where you'll see a statement of net position, a statement of activities. It goes on to talk about fund financial statements, which this will show financials a little bit more of what you're used to looking at, where you'll see the general fund, major streets, local streets presented discreetly. Same for your proprietary funds, water and sewer funds. Those are also presented in the basic financial statement section that will be coming up. So as I mentioned, there are condensed financial statements here. So beginning on page 8 of the audit report, zoom in a little bit here. What we're looking at here is a comparative statement of net position. So it's kind of like a balance sheet, except the difference here is that for the village's governmental activities, we're seeing things that you normally don't see when you're presented with financial statements at meetings. You're seeing these non-current assets, like the net capital assets, total leases receivable. You're seeing these deferred outflows related to pension and OPEB, as well as some of these liabilities, like your net pension liability and your net OPEB liability, that you can see here. And there's also deferred amounts related to those as well. These financial statements here, these statements of net position, these are on the full accrual basis of accounting. And what that means is the financials here are presented in the same sort of way that you would expect to see a for-profit business or a for-profit corporation present their financial statements. So these schedules here compare year over year, and one thing we also do as a part of, or one thing that also happens in these management's discussion and analysis sections is for any items where there's a significant variance year over year. So for instance, wondering why capital assets increased, from year to year. Some of those key amounts are actually explained later in this section. I won't go into those details now, but council can certainly check those at their leisure. Similar to the statement above, we have comparative activity here for both governmental activities and business type activities. And what we're seeing here is the statement of changes in net position. So this is where we're seeing our revenues and expenses. Again, this is at a full accrual level, so it's slightly different than what you're used to seeing. But you can see the comparative data year over year, and just kind of having an idea for how these figures are trending. Also, similar to the section above, we do go on to discuss the reason for some of these variances year over year. Again, I won't go into details, but you are certainly you have the reports to be able to look at them as you please. As mentioned earlier as well, the governmental funds, we discussed some of the same type of information, variances year over year for the governmental funds in this section as well. Graphics can be very useful at times. On page 11, we can see that at the full accrual level, you can see here in this graphic how the government, for the governmental activities, how your revenues are broken out. So approximately 47% of your revenues are related to taxes, 31% for unrestricted state sources, so that's going to be various LCSA monies as well as state revenue sharing. You had about 17% coming from grants and other contributions, and then charges for services encompassing about 5%. Taking a look at governmental activities expenses, you can see, and no different from many similar communities, public safety is your number one expense, followed by public works and general government, plus the remaining functions taking up approximately 3%. We go on to point out a few budgetary highlights for the village. Another portion of required supplementary information is to make some notes on the budget, and very happy to report that the village had no expenditures in excess of the amount appropriated during the year ended June 30, 2022. So that's certainly worth a pat on the back for management. Definitely shows that you all have your get your finger on the pulse of the operations of the village. And that really wraps up the MD&A section, management's discussion and analysis. Now, the actual financial statements of the village begin here on page 14. So these are all single year. These first two statements are really just a little bit more elaborate versions of what we just looked at in the management's discussion and analysis section, except we're only looking at a singular year. Again, this is full accrual accounting, similar to a for-profit business. We're seeing those amounts for pensions and OPEB in here under deferred amounts as well as these liability amounts here. And it looks like with this negative unrestricted net position, it looks like that's entirely engrossed here in these net pension and net OPEB liabilities. Again, this statement, we just looked at statement of activities. It's just broken out a little bit differently. Provides a little bit better visual in terms of showing which governmental activity was receiving, operating grants and things like that. You also get some data here regarding the wastewater and water fund. So, governmental balance sheet here, page 16. This is really going to be more of a reflection of what council is going to be used to looking at. The cash and cash equivalents. This is just this is the aggregated amount of all of the cash for the general fund. Same for ARPA, the sum of all the other funds as well. So if you're used to seeing multiple line items for things like your receivables, your prepaids, accounts payable, here in these statements, everything is just condensed down into one. And then this reconciliation section here, what this does is this provides effectively a proof of work for showing how these governmental fund balance sheet statements translate into those full accrual statements that we had just looked at. So these are adjustments that need to be made each year to present the village's financials at the full accrual level. On to page 18, revenues and expenditures. We're seeing very similar data as what we saw previously. However, there's some different revenue recognition requirements, so the figures won't quite line up with those previous statements. We can see, again, the only major funds for governmental activities this year were the general fund and the ARPA fund for governmental activities. And there's a similar reconciliation statement that provides proof of work for showing the governmental activities and how that can back into this governmental statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance. The wastewater and water fund here is, if you were to actually look at these totals columns here, these will be identical to what we had looked at in the in the management's discussion and analysis section, along with the government-wide statements that were at the beginning of the basic financials. Here we just have a little bit more detail. We're seeing how things are broken out between the wastewater fund and the water fund. And we're also seeing your internal service fund, I believe it's a motor pool, or an equipment fund. We have that broken out here to the side. Statement of cash flows as well. If you'd like to get an idea of your cash needs, these statements can be useful. You can see for your proprietary funds where the cash is moving and why. Okay. So, almost done, I promise. Page 27 is where we're going to start the footnotes of the financial statements. Just going to give you a quick tour here. Footnote 1 just starts out, it's really just kind of, it's kind of like an about me section for like an autobiography or you know, some kind of an online profile or something. This is really just an explanation of, you know, who the village is and what the various elements are that make up the village and its policies. So footnote 1 is probably the lengthiest footnote. It goes into describing accounting for leases, compensated absences, pretty much anything on the financial statements that isn't self-explanatory. There's a brief description here, and in many cases there are additional footnotes relating to those items. Footnote 2, we talked about earlier. This is where we would report any issues with compliance that we would have noted, and again, happy to report the village had no budgeted expenditures in excess of appropriations. However, we do note here governmental activities having position. I don't believe this is at a point where the village would have to file a deficit elimination plan or anything like that. Again, it's just all related to those pension and OPEB liabilities. If you want any details on cash and cash equivalents, note 3, you can take a look. I can give you an idea of what the village's insured or FDIC coverage was for the year. If there were any investments, discussing the fair value of those investments here. Footnote 4 just kind of breaks down the interfund transactions and shows which funds were transferring money in and out of to other funds. For anyone interested in seeing the flow of capital assets, note 5. It shows the beginning balance of all the villages, in this instance, governmental activities, beginning balances of assets and related accumulated depreciation. And we show the additions and disposals to those through the year for both governmental activities and then also for business type activities. And that's right, you have a DDA, and we're also showing the same figures for your DDA, showing what your beginning balances of capital assets were. And in this instance, there were no additions, it was just recording depreciation for the year for the DDA. Shows a breakdown here of depreciation expense. So for governmental activities, showing how those depreciation expenses broke out for the year. Note 6 covering long-term indebtedness. So the village doesn't have much debt by way of governmental activities. It's like you have a commercial lease agreement for a leaf collector and 2021 interceptor purchase agreement. And we can go down here and we can see, very similar to how we just looked at capital assets, we've got the same type of graph here for showing how the debt has resolved throughout the year. So no additions to debts here, just showing those reductions in principal payments here. And then for the business type activities, the refunding bonds, 2016 lease obligation, we can see how beginning figures, lease payment, what your ending debt was for each of those liabilities. Leases receivable, so this would have related to the implementation of a new GASB standard this year. So you now have some leases receivable on the books. It's related to a right to use for AT&T. So the leases receivable will be recorded on the village's financials from here forward, so long as you all have these types of agreements in place. I'm not going to go into any details here. Defined benefit pension plan. This is a pretty hardy footnote. It goes into a lot of details about what type of pension plan you all have, the various statistics for plan members, discusses the actuarial assumptions that were used in developing the calculations for your liability, and also provides some graphics showing just how those figures changed over year based on the actuarial studies and report that was generated for the year. Similar situation here, not going to go into great details. You have a footnote here for your OPEB plan. It provides very similar data, just tailored to your OPEB plan. Again, actuarial assumptions listed, how the investments are how the related investments are being placed, a graph showing you how those figures played out for the year. There are a few other footnotes: water purchase agreements, principal taxpayer, other intergovernmental agreements, taxes. It's pretty standard things here. Nice breakdown of your fund balance in case you were curious. Okay, well, if I have this unrestricted fund balance, then where are my restricted fund balances and where do they lie? Well, that's what this footnote can break out for you. Okay, we mentioned budgets earlier. If you wanted a little bit of a detail on the budget, starting at page 56, you can see all those budget variances here by each of your departments that are listed out. Again, there were no variances there. Same for your ARPA fund. There were no variances. Further, in the required supplementary information, we do have some pension schedules that are in here. These schedules, eventually they'll run on it'll be a 10-year layout that you'll see here. These can be very useful for just kind of getting an idea of how your pension is trending for the most part. We can see here, we had a couple of rough market years along with some actuarial changes. Then it looks like the funded percentage is getting back up for you all, so getting back into that territory that you need to be in. Same thing for OPEB. We can see these figures year to year, same deal, and definitely trending in the right direction here as far as your fiduciary plan percentage as a percentage of the total liability. I think you remember seeing on the financial statements there was a column that stated their governmental funds. These start on page 63. So back in those financial statements we looked at earlier where you had a column that said other governmental funds, this is the breakout of those. This is the combining statement of non-major governmental revenues. Non-major governmental funds for the balance sheet. And the next statement shows the same type of fund breakout, but for revenues and expenditures. And then those internal service funds broken out in a similar manner. And some supplementary DDA statements as well. Very last thing, goes back to page 1. It's just our letter to governance. So if there were anything glaring that we would notice in the report, we we would have that back here in this letter to governance. And happy to say that there was nothing we felt that was mention worthy here in this report to council. So that's all I have for you. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to address those now.
Okay, does anybody have any questions, any council? It doesn't seem that we have any questions.
Okay, all right, very good.
I guess we are on.
Thanks for having me, and if you do have any questions, you're welcome to reach out.
Thank you for your time and meeting with us tonight, and I am going to hang up. We will,
Yep, we're
if we
good.
have questions, we'll be in contact. Okay,
Nope. I think
Bye-bye.
it's all clear.
okay,
That doesn't want to make everyone more involved.
wake up.
Yeah.
Okay, we are done with our special presentations. Correspondence. Let me grab it. I had that one. You can see it. Here we go. It is from James Rutho. He says, I feel Sharon Smith would be a good choice for the empty board seat. She is a longtime resident and has a lot of good ideas. She has a can-do attitude that affects all people around her. Her integrity shines through every time. We do not need someone who is in with those who wish harm to the village, so Sharon would be an asset to your board table. And that was all I had for that, so we will end this. Now into public comment time. We will go to, everybody is welcome to speak here at public comment time. You can speak on any comment that you would like. We just ask that you be respectful to everyone's time and in ensuring that we will keep everyone to the 3 minutes. And if you have a comment, now is the time to state your comment, as the board will be conducting our business for the remainder of the meeting. We open the floor to public comment at this time.
Mary Meisner, 489 Victoria, Village of Romeo. I received my water bill here within the last couple of weeks, and I was unpleasantly surprised to see that the rate had not changed. I personally use 4,000 gallons per this bill, and I was at the December meeting, and nothing was mentioned about the new rates not going into effect. I don't know where the transparency is. Previous to that, in September, I had called the village offices and then was referred to the water department, and they said it would not take effect until January 1st. Now we're at January, and it's still the same. My question is, whatever the problem is, when it's resolved, are we going to get the rates that we were promised? Is it going to be promises made, promises kept?
Yes.
It is.
We are moving towards that.
When were the water users going to be notified of the change?
We had a special meeting that following week to address, there was a lot of issues going there.
Okay.
The staff, nothing was basically ready. So we had to pause it, and at that special meeting, we paused it for a couple cycles. We are working on it.
So it still is going to be 2 more cycles, and then we're going to be credited, right? The users with the 10,000, less than 10,000, we're going to be credited, right?
Until then, rates are as
They are as is, but when we finally get this resolved, are we going to be credited?
No, not that I'm aware of.
So we're going to pay this $168.50 for the next 2 cycles.
Correct.
After this one.
If you use less than 10,000, yes.
Yeah, that's too bad. Anyway, the other question that I wanted to know is there any update on the negotiations with Parks and Rec lease of the community center. We haven't heard anything. I go to all the Parks and Rec meetings and have heard nothing.
I have not been contacted by Parks and Rec.
Okay, and then the other question that I have is, back to the water bill. There is no late fee on the water bill. It's $168.40, and if you don't pay it by that time, it's still $168.40. This could go on and on and on, right? So there's no more late fees on water bills?
No, there was a mishap in the printing of them.
Okay.
Mary, at our last meeting that we had last month, we talked with the staff, and they needed the extra time because the paperwork had not been filed and done, so they could actually get their stuff together, so they needed the extra 2 months to.
All right, when I called in September, though, they said they were all set for January.
They called us, they told you a lie.
And then when I came in and I started asking questions,
Yes.
Okay.
It was-
And that was not from the village offices, that was from the water department?
Right.
What
Well,
was?
When I called
We had
to,
that meeting here.
to ask.
The one that the President's talking about. We conversed with staff, and they needed the extra time
Okay.
in order to get the material out to the residents.
Okay, and then the other thing is, just one more thing, is there any possibility that at the end of the regular meeting, there could be another space for public comment? Because it's very hard to comment in the beginning, then have the whole bulk of the meeting go, and we, the citizens, have nowhere to speak or address the issues. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'll try to make this quick. I'd like to personally introduce myself to the board. My name is Paul Bowers. I live in Romeo. I've lived here for the last 44 years. I've attended Indian Hills, Romeo Middle School, and graduated from Romeo High School. My 3 children still attend Romeo schools. My wife grew up in the Romeo area and graduated from Romeo High School also. Her family owns a bicentennial farm and has been farming in the Romeo area since 1835. Needless to say, our family roots are deep in the community. I hope my DDA application has found you guys well, and you guys will consider me for one of the current vacant DDA board seats. I have been very blessed to work hard and build a successful company over the last 25 years. I've decided to put my hard-earned money back into the community I love, and recently purchased the Locks Cleaners building and the adjacent Romeo Observer building with ideas of future development. I currently own a company that has about 100 men and women, and we work on projects at Romeo High School, Romeo Middle School, and the surrounding elementary schools. I feel my organizational skills, leadership, and experience will add value, accountability to the DDA board and the businesses it represents. Growing up in Romeo taught me many things, none more important than to speak up when you feel like you have something worth saying, defend in what you believe in, take pride in your roots and your history, put your money where your mouth is, and always treat people with good old-fashioned respect, compassion, and professionalism. Being from Romeo, I understand what it means to be a bulldog, what it means to be part of a community, and why this village and our village is special, it's unique, and it's worth investing in. And I hope that you guys give me the opportunity to join the board and continue that bulldog spirit. Thank you. Thank you.
Paul? Three minutes, Marty.
Good evening. My name is Marty Hutnick, 231 East St. Clair Street. I am just one of the local restaurant owners in the village of Romeo. We are under tremendous pressure due to economic circumstances and the unknown future. We are just now exiting COVID years when we all struggled to stay open, and we are very unsure of our future. We are so thankful for the DDA creating the second annual Winterfest 2023, which affords us the opportunity to keep our doors open during what is traditionally the slowest economic months of every year. To keep our businesses sustainable during these challenging economic times, we respectfully request that the permits with the food vendors be canceled. We are the Brick and Mortar Foundation in the village of Romeo and would like to continue to serve our community and guests for this event. We have felt so supported over the last year by the DDA and their staff for our business. But as the restaurants of the Village of Romeo, we are looking forward to collaborating even more for future events with the DDA. On the bottom of the letter that you were all given, we personally approached all the restaurants from Newberry down to Washington. There are 15 local restaurants, and not one of us are happy about the food trucks being parked in front of our businesses on Main Street. Any questions? How can we resolve this?
Ms. Miller, can I ask you a question regarding?
Well, actually, sorry, Trustee Fowler, this is public comment time, and she's welcome to comment. We do have it on our agenda, and we can get to it at business time. Do you have you have a minute left if you want to continue to speak.
I can answer you when it comes up.
No, I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Jessica.
Thanks, man.
Hi, I am Jessica Newby. I am the owner of Town Hall Soda Fountain in the Antiques Mall, and I am new. I've been here since about July, getting to know a lot of the other restaurant owners as well. I am also in agreement with the food trucks. This has been extremely, extremely difficult few years for everybody with food. And I need everybody to understand the logistics of just putting a food restaurant establishment together. It's insane. A lot of the money we have to spend, upwards of $10,000 to $20,000 just to prepare for a large event. Okay, so we have to put that money out. We have to find a place to store it, freezers, refrigerators, dry storage, things like that. It's very difficult to plan for an event. So if we have an event and nobody shows because of rain or whatever, we're stuck with all that, okay? Now, when I planned for the Vintage Festival this year, I knew Peach Festival was coming, and that helped a lot. But we don't have that opportunity this year, and everybody is pulling back. We are not getting the numbers we're supposed to be getting in the restaurants or in the food and drink areas. And I really, really need you guys to understand that this has been a difficult year for everybody, and we need your support. I know that these restaurants and businesses have put together or have been there for all of us through all of COVID in the last few years. They were serving when nobody else would. So I'd really like to support them, and at least for this particular event, take care of the food trucks, and then maybe discuss in the future a policy, a really strong, interesting policy where everybody comes together and talks and says, what do we want for Romeo? That's what I'd really like to see. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Jessica.
Good evening, Kelly Stevens, 222 Prospect. I'm here this evening to express my desire to continue servicing the DDA. I have been on the DDA since 2020 and in the capacity of the board director since September of 2020. During my tenure, we were able to hire a full-time director, which immensely helped the motion going forward with our DDA. With the hiring of this director, we were able to implement 3 successful festivals that brought many visitors to our town and money into our downtown businesses. I love being able to help from the chamber side and the DDA side. In December, when it was brought to our attention that the DDA was no longer going to have a home at the village offices, I got proactive and started thinking where we could go and be most viable for the DDA. I have a personal relationship with the family that owned the credit union, People's Driven on Main Street. So I approached Emily Roberts to see the possibility of the upstairs usage. This was something that they had been looking into doing, and so the timing was perfect. And as the DDA chair, on Friday, I signed a 5-year lease with People Driven Credit Union in the Romeo DDA for no money. It's been given to us for free. So as that momentum going forward, I would like the consideration of my time. I would like to be reappointed to the DDA and still continue this effort with helping Main Street.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Anybody else?
Hello.
3 minutes, Debbie.
3 minutes. I'll be quick. Debbie Martone, I live at 414 North Bailey, 31 years this month. Earlier this month, I sent a letter to the village president conveying my desire to be appointed to the open seat on the Romeo Cemetery Board. In my letter, I expressed my personal attachment to the cemetery, as my parents, grandparents, extended relatives, and friends are buried there. It is no secret that I spend a lot of time visiting and maintaining their graves on a regular basis. In the past, I have publicly expressed my concerns about conditions at the cemetery at times, and thankfully those concerns were addressed. After I was called to task to get more involved directly, I gladly accepted, and that is why I'm here tonight. In my letter to President Poznansky, I stated that, in quotes, as a steward of the cemetery, by way of a board position, I would serve with the utmost dedication, not only the cemetery itself, but the integrity of the village tax monies that are earmarked for the cemetery as well. I would personally like to address this council, in particular Ms. Trapp, and current board members, Mrs. Brooks and Mrs. Stevens, and everyone else associated with the cemetery in any way, to express my sincere intentions that, if so given, I will serve the cemetery alongside you in a fair, cordial, professional, and honest manner. I firmly believe that the cemetery is a vital and revered asset to this community through its historical significance and familiar bonds. I have a personal commitment to those interred there, as well as their family and friends, and would take the opportunity as a board member to show them my heartfelt decency, transparency, and respect. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you, Debbie. Anybody else for public comment?
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I wanted to get up and speak because my understanding is we're not going to address issues after the agenda continues on. If that's correct, then I'll have to speak before you now, I guess. First of all, I'm John Rose. I do own Main Street Coffee House. Thank you, Kelly, regarding the DDA office and what you've done to secure what we've now found out. Unfortunately, I haven't myself personally been able to get up there and see it myself, but I hear it is wonderful. It's in great shape, right, Elizabeth? I want to mention kind of what my trick is. My trick is I'm a DDA board member. I'm also a business owner. Just typed some notes while I was sitting there, so I'm going to refer to those, I guess. So that's my issues, that I'm on a board. I'm also a business member, so I do have a couple different concerns here. I want to address the upcoming Winterfest and specifically food trucks. As of last night, I was informed of and given a copy of a letter that went to the DDA board and that there was a gathering of some restaurant owners, so I want to give my 2 cents. I want to point out, as a board member, we want nothing but a successful event. I don't think anybody's looking to put anything in, start a fire, which is going to lead to unsuccessful event. That doesn't help any of us. There's also, I want to make sure, especially residents realize, I don't see this as any Elizabeth bashing. That's not what's going on. I personally have nothing bad to say about what Elizabeth is doing and has done.
1 more minute.
And has got a lot to contribute. I'll just have to briefly say, I don't know if this board can do anything. Our problem as a DDA, we've had some communication issues, some office issues, so we haven't really been able to resolve a couple things. This is one of them. We've got no meetings scheduled before now in Winterfest. So I don't know if anything can be resolved here, but this is what we're asking. Now, as a business owner, events, in my eyes, and I believe the DDA mission, exist to get people in our doors. Anything that leaves people out in the street or doesn't give the opportunity for people or the reason for people to come in our doors is a deterrent. That's really what I see as the big issue for these food trucks. Why come in our doors as a restaurant if I've already gotten what I need outside?
That is your time. Thank you.
So with that, I close.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
The floor for public comment. Welcome, Lisa.
Hi, my name is Lisa Hall. I am a current Planning Commission member, and I have sent President Poznanski my letter asking to be reappointed to the Planning Commission. I did notice that the village planner is on the agenda for this evening, and just from the perspective of being on the Planning Commission, doing this as part of my everyday job, I cannot express to you enough how important it is for us to have a planner. They give us guidance. They have the time to look through the zoning ordinance. They know, does this meet, does this not meet the expectations and the conditions and what we need to have. We've had one for the last 4 years. We've been very lucky to have him. He's very knowledgeable. I never felt uncomfortable with any of his recommendations. But we have a new master plan. And that master plan needs to match, our zoning ordinance needs to work with that master plan. And at this point in time, we have a brand new document here, and we have a document here that's 22 years old. This isn't going to work with this. And we need to look at amending this to make it work with this for the new businesses that do want to come into town, and for the, and to make it all work and be beneficial to everybody. So I'd just like you to please consider the village planner, make it something very important, because it is really important to us because we've got new property, we've got, and people are gonna come. I mean, we've got, new businesses at 32 and Powell. So it is important to have someone that can give us recommendations and can help us with the wording to make this work. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Lisa. Public comment.
Hi, good evening. Elizabeth Miller. I live on Chandler Street. I'm here tonight on behalf of my husband. He wasn't able to be here tonight. And I'm aware that he wrote each and every one of you individually on his desire to be reappointed to the tree board. And he addressed each of the quadrants that you live in and talked about his plans to improve each of your streets. Before I read his letter, I just want to give you a little background on him. It's not much, but just no one likes to toot their own horn, but so I'll do it for him. He is a retired active duty Marine of 22 years, a dedicated resident for the last 16 years along with me, an avid garden with me and my crazy ideas. We've planted 15 trees in our yard alone and replaced a couple that came over in the winds a few years ago. His letter addressed on January 9th to President Poznanski says this. This is my letter of interest in being reappointed to the Romeo Tree Board. I appreciate your consideration. I have served as president of the Romeo Tree Board for the past 4 years. During that time, I have led the team to accomplish the following: planted 20 large mature trees in public spaces in the last 2 years, all with donated money. Number 2, built a large following on social media that serves to educate the public on the Tree Board mission. Earned Romeo the distinction of Tree City USA, a nationally recognized achievement awarded to communities by the Arbor Day Foundation. Established a tree donation program that's never been done before. developed a long-range plan to ensure trees are evenly planted in all 4 quadrants of the village, work with the Michigan State University Extension Office and the county to develop a plan to combat infestation and defoliation of our trees in Romeo from the sponging moth. I would like to continue serving the residents of the village in this role and hope to help Romeo stay beautiful with tree-lined streets and a healthy urban forest. And I look forward to understanding the goals of your administration for trees in public space and hope to work with you to accomplish these goals. Sincerely, David Miller. He didn't just serve the last 4 years. He's been on the board for, I believe, 8 to 10 years. So he's been on the board for quite a long time. And I just ask that you would consider reappointing him to the tree board so he can continue to serve this community as a volunteer. Thank you.
Anybody else for public comment? Okay, we will close the floor to public comment. As we go forward, I have provided, our packets were large this month, in the hope that you would have, the board would have all the information that we need to make our decisions going forward in our business. Should we still have questions when an item comes up, I would ask that we don't just open the floor to someone to make a comment, because that is a disservice to everybody else that cannot stand up and make the comment. If the board has a question and we can come up with a question that we could address the person in the room, they can address that question the board would like to ask. But here going forward, let's continue with our business. I'm sorry, I don't know. Okay. Whew, our officer reports. Do we want to start with our trustees? Zach,
Well,
do you have a
I can give
trustee?
for the planning commission.
Okay.
We had a couple interesting rezoning requests. One for the Congregational Church, which Mr. and Mrs. Rapp have currently purchased the church, and they would like it rezoned from its current status, which is residential, to a central business district. We reviewed it over as a planning commission, and there were some residents there also, which was very important. The thing that everybody was looking at was, what's it gonna turn out to be, what's it gonna look like? That was the big question. So, the planning commission came up with the contingent upon the combining of the lots, that we would approve the rezoning request, but that has to be done first before it comes to the council. Oh, thank you.
So I'm coming.
And at this time, it hasn't been done. I just talked to Mrs. Rapp, and she's in the process of getting it done. But we're going to table that until she produces the information to the clerk, and then we'll get back on the table here. That works? Can she speak? Or?
No. Do you have a specific question for her?
It comes up, no, it comes up on the, okay.
Okay.
And that's
Anything
about it.
trustee-wise?
Nope,
Okay, Justin?
appreciate it, thank you.
I have nothing.
Mr. Edwards?
Nope, not here.
Not at this time.
Okay. You want to give your report?
In the respective time, due to the lengthy agenda, I have printed out my report and gave it all to the trustees prior. I will be putting it on the website under the clerk section for tomorrow. Thank you.
Do we have Caroline here?
No, she is
Okay, I
absent
didn't think
tonight.
I see her. Okay, so no treasure report. I also have, that was it, right? Just president's report. Okay. Can you hear me? So, this month, we had a few pre-planning meetings in the Village Hall. We met with Friends of the Village Park. The village team went over the next steps for construction with them. And the county came out with their, what they call their A-team. We had JP, Vicky I'm not going to say Rowanski, and everybody else from the MEDC that would offer their assistance to the village, met with me as the new president, kind of went over what they could offer the village and their assistance in any way. I also, Don Brown came out, similar thing, just to say hi, to meet me, and to offer his assistance to the village in any way. We had WBRW stop in at Village Hall for a quick interview. They were going around the community doing a segment of looking forward in 2023, the plans that they've stopped at the library, Parks and Rec, all of the government, so that was on there. And then I had a quick meeting last week with our insurance, our Ascend group. They went over their moving into more of a digital platform, and we went over any needs or concerns. The Village Hall continues to be open on Fridays. So we are now open up 5 days a week, 8:30 to 4:30. Cindy and I are taking turns covering every other Friday. So we are there and ready to take your water bills. And speaking of water bills, Mary, this will address that, is the late fee was not calculated on your water bill. This, however, does not mean that the late fees are waived. The bill does state there a couple times that a 10% late fee is applied. So if it is after the date, do you know the date offhand?
No,
I didn't check
it's like
that.
February 7th, I think.
Okay, you will still have a 10% late fee. With the water rate update, going into that, Clerk Trapp, Treasurer Miller, John Kasor, and Chris from the Water Department, and myself are also known as the Water Rate Planning Group, is meeting this Wednesday to determine the next steps in how this change is rolled out. We need to see what our water bill, do we want to change it? Is it going to look different? We would like to send out some correspondence to the residents to inform you when this is coming, what to be looking for. So we will start meeting on that. I had a phone conference with Mr. Clark and Mr. Kasor regarding bringing the ordinance language into compliance with the new rates, so that as it changes over, they marry up and everything can be implemented there. We will be bringing, as Mark gets that ordinance updated, we'll be bringing that changes to the council, hoping for next month here. In the DDA, we have 2 new businesses that had grand openings this weekend. So wanted to say congratulations and welcome to JL Smokehouse and Kind Beauty Company. Also, the DDA has acquired a new lease for their office on Main Street at the People Driven Credit Union upstairs. This is going to just enhance their continued success. And it comes with a lot of new exciting possibilities for the DDA because it comes with a lot of space for them. And we're thankful for that. Our road millage, have a meeting this week with our bond counsel and engineers to get the conversation started of what are the next steps here. I've never created a road or done this before, so we are leaning heavily on our engineers and our bond counsel there. Around Village Hall, we had a few updates on this past month. Our front door received a little TLC. Needed a little weather stripping, keep that cold air out and the warm air in. With the mayor's scan, those are the documents on demand. We have our contract has officially been initiated, and we are starting to create our records page for the village website, looking to get the folder started for all of our boards and commissions. And it's here that we'll have agendas, packet information, and meeting minutes. The hope is for all of our boards. We will be scheduling an in-house meeting with Rob from Ameriscan to come out and show myself and Clerk Trapp how to start working with this software. We have also addressed our records organization. Catherine and I were up there the other Friday. That records room has become apparent that our record storage could use some organization. And although Clerk Trapp has been working on it, it is a lot. So I've asked Clerk Trapp if she would mind if I could come alongside her and support her in this effort. And we have a game plan going forward of how we're going to attack this. It's going to take a bit of time. Again, it is quite disorganized and there's a lot of information up there. However, we are both determined to put in the time and get this done so that the staff can easily access the necessary documents when needed in a timely manner. In reference to the Romeo Community Schools, I have met with Superintendent Robinson a couple weeks ago. He had reached out to me requesting to set up a meeting. This meeting was to bring me up to speed in the movement of the Prospect property, as the middle school was demolished and the property is now sitting there. The assessment of the property has been wrapped up and it is moving towards the RFP stage at the school board table. From here, the next steps would be for the school to award the bid in the sale of the property. This will take some time, a few months. At this time, the RCS, Romeo Community Schools, understands and respects that this parcel is zoned as R1 single family, and it is being marketed as such. Moving forward, it has been mentioned that this is still a process, and we all know how government and processes work, and most likely would not we would not see work until at least 2024, assuming everything falls in line and there's no setbacks at any time. I wanted to let the council know that I have responded to the letter from Corbin and Corbin as council directed me at the end of last month's meeting. Literally just this afternoon, I received an envelope in my hand regarding it. I did not have time to open it. We will address that next month at a closed session again. I wanted to come back to the radar speed signs. A couple people have asked, as they have not been out yet. Chief is working diligently on this. He is currently conversing with Macomb County on getting the permit for the poles that the device is attached to, as the poles need to go,
I
go ahead.
actually spoke with them this morning, and he said we will be approved, it just hasn't been approved yet.
Yay, okay, so there, even better. So these should be up, month, 2 months, okay. So soon we will see those flashing speed. In regards to Ford, I attended another virtual meeting this month with the task force. With the shuttering of the plant coming up, they have decided to turn up the dial, and we are meeting monthly now in order to stay in communication. This way, everyone is poised and ready to take action when the time comes. And that is my report for the month. Whew, let's move into committee reports. We have a Bruce Sewer Committee. I didn't add that into my president's report in case one of you wanted to touch on it. We did have a meeting this month with Mr. Philbrook, Trustee Parker, Edwards.
I got the next one.
Have at it. I've talked.
Well, we just discussed with Mr. Philbrook the possibility of moving forward with some of the additional gallons that they wanted for use in the wastewater treatment plant. So we kind of gave them the approval on that too, didn't we?
We offered, he had quite a few questions, as his counsel did. We explained the answers to him as to why we were asking what we were asking for those gallons.
True, and
then
there was also a big discussion on the fees that they were looking to, that we were looking to charge them. They wanted a lot of, they were willing to pay for their additional usage, but didn't want to pay for the bricks and mortar that came along with that additional usage. So the village residents had paid X number of dollars for usage of that capacity, and here they want to take some percentage of that. Well, they should pay for some percentage of what our village residents had put in for that. So we're not going to be financially supporting Bruce Township from that standpoint. And I think it took them a while to understand that. We had to repeat that about 3 or 4 times. So he's going to take that back to the board and explain it to his own board, and hopefully we should get a positive result soon.
Right, because we are willing to work with Bruce.
Yes.
But we cannot subsidize. We will not use your tax dollars to subsidize.
To subsidize their usage.
So that's where we stand with that. We are waiting to hear back. Do you have anything to add, Justin?
No, that covered it.
Nope.
Okay. We
Sure,
had on
good
here
job,
the
man.
creation, we created that crosswalk project subcommittee. Did you guys meet or?
So I'll take personal blame for this one. I had some family emergency and hospitalization to handle in the past weeks, and weren't able to meet up. So talking with Sean and Zach, we plan on the next couple weeks getting together. Sean's been out taking a look at the crosswalks, measurements, and just putting some ideas together along with Zach. So we'll sit down probably in the next week or so and hopefully have something for you guys next month. So I apologize.
Okay, sounds good. Let's move into our unfinished business. We have our Lions Alley vacate request. This is coming back at us. Hopefully we can make a decision one way or the other tonight. I included for you a letter from Mr. Andrew Hale, and then the resolution provided by Clerk Trapp. Do we have any questions, comments, or a motion?
I noticed in here that Mr. Hale indicated that you guys will not be selling the property at all. Guarantees staying as it is. we can all trust that you guys are gonna keep your word, not abandon us. Can I ask him a?
Is that a specific question?
Yes, I'm asking him a specific question. For all the people here. Can you come up to the? That we'd like to,
Well, would you like me to read your letter? Or would you like to read it? I can hand it to you. Okay.
I like the letter. It says we have
It says,
no interest in selling. I like that.
My name is Andrew Hale. I am the Vice President of the Romeo Lions Club. The purpose of this letter is to ask for the alleys in an unimproved section of Harriet Street within the boundaries of the Romeo Lions Club properties to be vacated by a resolution of this board. This process is not foreign to this board. The same process recently occurred on Newberry Street. The areas have not been used for public purpose in decades, and the club would like to lower our parcel count by combining parcels where possible. We, the Romeo Lions Club, have no interest in selling our land. We merely want to reduce the amount of paperwork necessary when filing permits and other documents that require land records. We have no ulterior motive. The sole purpose is to have more unified parcels rather than how they are in their current state. As a fourth-generation Romeo Lion and club board member, I can state unequivocally that we do not have plans to go anywhere. The club has been a part of this village for the better part of 80 years. We take great pride in our community, or service to this community, and he is here to answer any questions.
Now, I appreciate you putting this in writing, because it's tough for some people to actually put down what.
No,
they actually
absolutely.
mean. So-
I mean, especially with the apartment building going up next to the edge of the property.
Yes.
We're aware that people are concerned, and we aren't going anywhere. We've been here, we've owned that land since the 50s, we've been a club since the 40s. We don't have any interest in leaving. It's just about cleaning it up. I mean, there's due care agreements to alleys and streets, and those aren't met. So why not just not have them?
Would the gate at the Denby part still be there?
Washington?
Egress? I mean.
Oh, we need it for pass-throughs anyway.
Yeah, I mean. for
It'll
pass-
stay there. It's mostly shut now anyway.
but since
That
the-
part, there is no road there. That
Oh,
road doesn't
yeah, but there's
exist.
still an egress. You can kind of walk through to get to
Sure,
uptown. I mean,
right.
I come through the trail, go through there, and I end up in town.
Right, yeah, we always leave it open anyway.
Okay.
We allow the village to put snow and stuff on it.
Andrew, with your experience, would we need some type of agreement then with you? Because I know we currently use part of it for dumping of snow.
No, there's no agreements to that. It's just.
There's nothing
It's
currently.
just always happened. And we don't really plan to stop that. We are part of the village.
Yeah. Mark, do you see any reason that we would want to look to draft some type of legal agreement with, for use of alley, street, whatever we currently use for our excess snow?
Well, if you, excuse me, if you vacate the alleys or the streets, it becomes their property.
Yeah.
And so your use of the property would be conditioned on their permission. So you'd have to decide what your comfort level is with respect to the dumping of the snow, or whatever other uses you might want to make. You can't have, coming at it from a different direction, you can't have a conditional vacation of the alleys or streets.
That would be our concern.
I will state that where you dump it now, there is no easement. There is nothing. Washington Street does not exist past the bounds of the gate. It hasn't since 1953. The only part that exists is that short stub of Harriet Street and the alleys to the west where the houses used to be 30 years ago.
So if
There
we
is
don't-
nothing where the snow's dumped now, and we've never said anything about it, nor do we plan to. We go out and rake out all the asphalt out of it every year so we can put rides on it again. We're accustomed to it. It's been that way for as long as I can remember.
Well, as Mr. Clark just said, that if we do this, then it's your property, and then what guarantees can we continue our usage of your property? Are you guys willing to put that in writing, say, village, you're here forever, as long as we're here?
I mean, if that were a thing, sure, the conditional vacation of it doesn't exist because where you dump the snow now, where you come in with the trucks now, is not an easement. Washington Street does not exist past that apartment building. It was vacated by this board in 1953. We are currently asking about the alleys that tee into the grass section up to the west and Harriet Street, which is, there's a tree in the middle of it that's 2 feet around.
Big tree.
It's across from Carl Webb's house. It's been there forever.
Big tree.
But that's my thing, is a conditional, I mean, that doesn't go to this. They don't connect. But my point is we don't have an issue with it. I don't understand why you need an agreement for it. We're just trying to clean up the land. And it's,
I
we
guess
aren't
I
trying
would,
to sell it.
I'd like to make a motion to grant the request from the Lions to vacate the alleys.
I'd second.
Parker's got a second.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
We'll bring in snow next week.
That's what they say by the end of the week.
Continuing on.
A motion was made and we are going to vote.
We're gonna vote right now.
Do you want it all in favor? You can call roll.
That's up to you. I can do roll call.
Go ahead.
Edwards?
Yes.
Bartholomew?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
President Poznanski?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Item B, under unfinished, we have elected official cell phone. Catherine took care of this. She provided for you the monthly price, $39.99 per phone with unlimited calling and messaging and data. A 2-year agreement is required. If you did not want to carry around a second phone, an app is available, and that's $15 per personal cell phone. It was during the month, Trustee Parker then asked, well, what about tablets? So then she priced out tablets. And you can see then she provided on their second page all the different devices that you could have and the prices.
Yeah. I think it's good information. Maybe we should look at this when we get into the budget. Looking forward, I don't know if we need to make any movement on it tonight, unless you see a reason to. We've got the information, we can work it into the budget as needed.
Well,
That works for me.
no movement, bring it back up at budget
May.
time. Okay, moving to item C, Village to City.
Yes.
This was a request by Trustee Fowler. I provided for you as much information as I could here, going back to the minutes, different things where the committee presented their findings and recommended going forward.
Madam President?
Go ahead.
Through the village to city ordeal, I'd just like to make a motion right off the bat here to end, terminate all financial payments and activities for the village to city.
That's been done already.
No, it
That's been
hasn't.
done with the committee. But
The committee's been
but
dissolved.
There's funds in certain budgets
Really?
to pay up some of our consultants.
No, as I included in here, one of the things was the president's report from last year, where it was addressed, the village to city process remained on hold until the completion of the annexation request we submitted last year. Our application is being considered by the Macomb County Commissioners and the Office of the Great Seal of Michigan. This pause was put in place because the next step in cityhood process requires an official boundary survey. Due to the possible change in boundaries, if approved, we would not want to incur the survey cost twice. So that was last January, and since that time, the commissioners have met, affirmed that annexation. So this is where we sit. If we were going to go forward, we would be getting a boundary survey. So it has been in the process, although not talked about, it has still been hanging out there.
But we dissolved the committee.
Committee, yeah.
You dissolved the committee that did the research. You didn't put an end to going forward in the process. That is what Trustee Fowler is
So your motion again, Zach?
motioning.
To end and terminate all financial payments and activities?
And to no longer seek cityhood?
Yes.
I'll second that.
Would you call a roll call, please?
Fowler?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
President Poznanski?
Yes.
Bartholomew?
Yes.
Edwards?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, now into our Purple Heart community. We heard the presentation tonight. Where did the board want to go with this? Justin, this is your line item?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to move forward with filling out the paperwork and getting the proclamation.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Figured that was easier for you.
If I could, is that something that Megan, President, or Trap, or Court Trap, is that something you guys can handle, or can I work with one of you guys on it? And whatever information we need, I may not be privy to, we could.
Right,
Fill it out.
it sounded like the next steps were to get with the,
Yeah, she handed me
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
list of people to get with,
so,
so.
have
Or an
at it.
official proclamation?
Okay.
Go through the process, all right?
Yep. You can reach out to one of us, or take care of it yourself. Bring it back next month.
Yeah, well, yeah. What's that?
I said you can take care of it yourself, get with one of us, bring it back next month.
Appreciate
Okay.
it.
Item E, the village planner. I had in here a proposal from the county. Upon Mr. Caston's leaving, we asked him his recommendation, and he said that he did know that the county supported smaller communities, so we did reach out to them and heard back. Tonight at your table, however, I did present a second proposal that was also provided by Mr. Casson, however, it didn't come till this weekend. It is from somebody that has worked closely with him, under him, and is getting their certification.
Madam President, can we table this until we have a full board here? We can hear all comments?
That makes me nervous because that means we have no planner in the meantime. So we have planning commission meetings, ZBA questions, and work going on at the village hall that we do not have a professional to reference. So could this council do that? Absolutely, you have the right to do that.
Well, I think the
Would I
plan-
suggest that? Absolutely not. I would like us to make a choice.
Well, I know the planning commission has some personnel on it that's pretty educated in certain areas, so I don't think they'll be up a creek without a paddle until our next meeting.
Well, I don't think that
I just,
in the village office, we often get daily phone calls regarding planning, and we are not the professionals in this area. It would be like if someone called to ask me an electrical or a building permit question, and I am then putting the village's name on the line with my answer. I'm not the professional. Cindy is not the professional. And I don't know that saying to the person on the line to wait 3 weeks until the planning commission meets and possibly someone has an answer for you.
Can I make a comment? Just, yeah, from the business prospect aspect of it being in the village office, you made comment that there's some planning commission members on there, then they would be, if they're certified enough to sign their name to the documents and to the official recommendations and items, and if anything goes awry, they're the ones that will be in court with Mark Clark if there is an issue against the village. So if you have planning commission members, I don't believe, I mean, this is why we had Steve Caston. He was certified, he was educated, he put his name on the dotted line with all of his, he had to be certified in order to do that. So if anything went awry, we had him to speak to if the village was in any legal liability.
Right.
But you're saying this one candidate isn't certified?
No.
Is that the one
She
we
is,
got tonight?
she is AICP certified.
Yes.
What it is, while she was going through her certification, she worked with Mr.
was an
Casson.
apprentice.
So that's
okay.
how he came in recommendation for her. Her monthly retainer is 500. The county came in at 600. I understand wanting to save money, but if you look at the liability of not having one in the long term, should we, somebody who is not the professional, speak out of turn or sign our name to something that is incorrect, that liability and the amount of money that could cost the village could just blow this $500 or $600 a month out of the water.
Megan, what did we do in the years prior to having Casson, the planner?
I don't know. We had the village.
We didn't have a planner, so we're very vulnerable to a lot of legal issues if anybody were to come back to us.
We
We're
also-
insanely vulnerable.
Yeah,
We
I
also
was
just-
just asking,
No.
who handled it or how did we handle it prior? I know it just didn't get not handled.
I believe like the clerk at the time just took it.
We had clerk, we had our engineer over here.
Mark, did you weigh in at all?
You had a planner.
Okay.
Denny Maher used to do it years ago. Denny passed away. His son Patrick did it for a while. Patrick went had a private practice now. I don't know if he's still in Washington Township. He may have gone to another community. Then you've had Chris McLeod did it for a while. And then I believe he went in-house in Birmingham or Bloomfield Hills, someplace on the west side. So you've always had, on some basis, access to a planner. I don't know internally whether, and I don't recall whether the planner was on a retainer or on an as-call basis, but the village has historically had access and used that access to a planner.
And I would just like to bring up to the council that the village that we had years ago is not the village we have today in respect to the property that is available to be developed. And having planners on hand, we're going to have the school selling that Prospect property. If we aren't on top of what is and isn't allowed, we could be making mistakes and end up in court, and then sometimes they just, with a consent judgment, they get to do what they want to do in the end, and that's not where we want to be. So I would ask the council to please consider one of these two
Well, I don't know either
proposals.
one of these people. Do you have a recommendation?
I do know the county, and I do have complete faith in them, but I also, we've worked with Mr. Casson, and if this Karen was tutored under him and followed along with him, I would also have confidence in that. So, and hers is $100 less per month. However, if you look at all the different things, certain additional services and what is included, they might differ a little bit.
I'm gonna make a motion that we move forward with the hiring of Karen Kozalov? Oh, no, Laverne.
Levere.
As
Support.
Planning Commission? As planning.
This village planner.
Is there
Village
a,
planner, sorry.
is this an agreement for a certain amount of years, or is this on a month-to-month?
You can put that in your motion.
With her to be paid on a monthly basis? Or not?
Yeah, I don't know what the agreement, if we've seen something from her, if it was put out to be on like a month-to-month basis, or if we had to agree for a certain amount of
Yeah, I don't
months
know.
or years, or,
Doesn't
'cause
say-
we just got it today. I didn't have a chance to.
I know,
forward it through
I
tonight.
do
I'm sorry.
apologize that it just came to the council, so no, we
Yeah,
did
no,
not have,
I'm just,
I
I didn't
know.
know if you knew, I'm sorry.
It just says the planning group will provide the following professional planning consulting services at a rate of $500 per month at the request of the Village of Romeo. She'll attend 12 meetings annually. She lists the different fees for the different meetings or site plan reviews.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to talk about time frame.
No, be my concern, is if we're stuck.
Well, you could make a motion for a certain amount of time. The county did 6 months to give time in case the arrangement wasn't working well. There was, it wasn't a long-term
Could we
one, 6 months to
Then
try
we
out.
hire her for the amount of 6 months? To see how she works out?
Sounds good to me. At least we have somebody on the books to, I mean, we have a ZBA meeting coming up on the 1st. We have planning questions that we need to, that are lining up, so. We have a motion in a second?
We do for, yep, and you wanted to add the timeframe of 6 months
Yes,
onto the
6
motion?
months.
Do you
Okay.
still support that?
Yep.
Revisit?
Okay. Ready?
Yes.
Bartholomew?
Yes.
Edwards?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Fowler?
No.
President Poznanski?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-1.
Okay, and now we have our DDA Winterfest. My info. So we were provided, I have the email written by Director Miller, and then the letter from the businesses. All of them are listed that are opposed to these food trucks. And then I went through really quick and grabbed our event permit from last month that we saw. So you have our event permit in here. We have outline and timeline that was provided. The other page.
See the timelines.
Yeah, with the closure, the barricades, we have a map. However, so, and going back over it, I don't see where council even approved food trucks, is kind of what I'm getting at. And all this information that I've went and dug through out of the last two meetings, food trucks are not mentioned here on the event permit.
I do like you put the ordinance in there too. That
Yes, so that we
originally
could
adopted.
reference that, should we, I don't know how far we want to go in the weeds with this, and then also the actual permit that would be filled out when they come in, transient merchants come in. So I don't know where council wants to go with this. I know the businesses would like to put a stop to it, but then I also question if we ever even started it.
Well, if we haven't started it, though, that doesn't stop them from coming. So if we want to actually stop them from coming, I think we would have to have a vote to eliminate it. To say
Or
that.
not eliminate the event completely, just
Not eliminate
limit
the
the
event
event to no food vendors.
Well, if we've
Yeah.
never even approved it, then we can't not approve something we never even approved.
I'm not canceling not something, I'm just saying that we're not going to
Not-
allow.
not-
Who did the
not-
food vendors get their permits?
Elizabeth, is this a DDA event, have you guys contacted these food trucks at all?
Yes, so part of our procedures within the office that's been established since I took the role 15 months ago, there hasn't been any before. It's what we've followed for the last 4 events, well, including this one, because this is our 4th event that we've done from last year that have all been brand new. This is our first reoccurring event. So my staff member, who is our admin and events coordinator, Madison, created the event permit. It's been reviewed and approved by the village clerk, and looked at with our board chair, myself, and so forth. So we were advised that since we did an event permit, that all of the permits that fall underneath that we handle them within the DDA. So we've been taking care of them. I know some of the concern is, well, why did you only charge them $25 a person, or for the day? Well, I believe, if I'm correct, Catherine, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe a 30-day permit is only $50.
30 days, 150.
150.
150, okay, I'm a little off.
Which I did confer with Mark Clark, and I spoke with Catherine today to clarify that in filling out our event permit, the permit nowhere on itself does it say that by filling out the permit, do you waive following ordinances, which would mean you would still need to come in and get a permit from the village for food trucks. If the ordinance specifically does call out times where it is waived, though, so I wanted to make a point that it does say during Peach Fest and, where is it? I can't remember if it was the garage sales when they used to be very popular. Those 2 times, these permits were waived. So that if this is something we do want to do, that when someone does come in for an event permit, and we do want to waive this, we need to add that in somewhere. Because to Elizabeth's point, this is something that has kind of been happening, and we need to get it in writing. Which way are we going to go here? Do they need to still come to the village for a permit? As it stands, they should. But if this is something that we would allow to be waived when it comes time to ask for an event,
Excuse me, Madam
then we need to
President, is
put
it
it in
something
there.
that we can just identify with DDA activities? I mean, obviously, they're putting on the show, and they want to keep everything, so I know there's like Peach Festival when we have the food trucks, so we want to make sure that.
Right, so if we
don't-
want to amend the ordinance to include some sort of language that
Yeah,
encompasses
Whatever
it.
show they put on, it's theirs.
Yes. So that would be my suggestion, that we would at some point amend this ordinance so that it falls in line with how we're currently acting. Because as it stands, they should still have to come into the village and get a permit.
Mark, can we do something like that, or?
Well, you can always amend an ordinance, so the answer is yes, you can. As the ordinance exists now, the council has the ability to exempt an organization from paying the fee, but if you waive the fee, the organization or the entity still has to apply for the permit. They have to qualify. It's right in your ordinance. An exempt organization is determined by the village council shall be exempt from the payment of an application fee only, but all other provisions of the article and all other village ordinances shall apply. So you can't, your ordinance allows these temporary vendors, and you can't pick and choose who you're going to let come and participate in the village. You can say that for every event the DDA puts on, they don't need to get a permit. You could do that, but, and I realize the concern of the merchants, the brick and mortar people, I understand that fully, but your ordinance permits this, and you can't deny if somebody came in, whether it's through the DDA or individually came in and they otherwise qualify based on the particulars in your ordinance, you can't deny them because you prefer somebody's business over another.
The other thing we had talked about back when we adjusted the fee was possibly making a space, a designated area for food trucks, so that they couldn't come and park a coffee vendor in front of our coffee shop. That they would have a designated food truck zone, and they would have to, the permit would apply to that space.
Stick them out of Fords, huh?
Because your ordinance right now, your ordinance right now, for the good or the bad, your ordinance says transient merchants are authorized to engage in temporary business. So you can't, you can amend your ordinance and eliminate transient merchants if you want, but you can't just by fiat say, well, we like you, but we don't like you.
So currently, the way it's written, these merchants have to come to us individually and ask for an application and fill out.
And pay the fee and qualify
So currently,
under
we
the
can't
terms.
just allow this to happen based on what we have in front of us.
Well, somebody's got to apply for the permit. Now, the DDA could apply for, and I'm making up numbers here because I don't know what's going on, the DDA could apply for 5 food vendors or trucks, however they're going to manifest themselves, but somebody's got to apply for the permit, and somebody's got to pay for it.
And the permit does say that they need to fill out the form 5 business days prior to the commencement date of when they will be here. So if this is going to be done, it needs to be done.
Because part of this is, right, we collect like their license or whatnot from the
Insurance.
county that say that, you know, they're eligible to serve food. They've got liability insurance. And I know when we waive it for like the Peach Fest, the county sends out a crew of people that highly inspect these, the setups. I mean, Andrew, yeah, the health department comes out and does pretty intense inspections on everything.
Elizabeth, what's the DDA's thoughts on this, or is this the first time you're hearing it too?
Yeah, this was a real shocker. You know, you hear grumblings here and there, but to my knowledge, and I take the food trucks or don't take the food trucks, you know, some of this is above my pay grade, so I'm just trying to make everybody happy, but I also want to make sure that we don't end up in a situation where we have legal contracts that we have with vendors. They've already submitted fees, they filled out all the paperwork, they've submitted all of their licenses and whatnot. We follow the protocol within the village's offices. So I'm concerned from that perspective. I actually have drafts for you guys. I'll just hand them out just so you have them. They do say draft all over them, so please don't post them anywhere because there's a couple of things. Oh, okay, thank you. There we go. And Mark, I don't think I have enough for you, sorry.
That's all right.
Could you pass those other ones
Yes.
around, Nate? This is for you. Okay, there you go. The map's on the bottom of it, and, you know, I had actually a lovely meeting yesterday with a couple of the restaurant businesses and another business owner yesterday, and, you know, worked through a lot of things. Here we are, we're 12 days away from this event. Thank goodness, we were able to stop the presses on those event, posters and whatnot that were about to be printed. That would have been costly for us to cancel that, but luckily we were able to stop. So at this point, it's kind of hard to switch horses midstream. I'm concerned a little bit too about the perception of Romeo, 12 days out from an event, suddenly canceling this. There's a lot of hype around this. The race, the 5K race, is sold out at almost 300 runners already. I won't wax long, I promise.
I don't think
but
anybody's
it's-
talking about canceling the event.
No, I understand that. But what I was going to say is,
Trying to give you what you want.
the advertising of the race has gone out to over 40,000 runners in Michigan alone, and they talked about food trucks and the different things that are going to happen. So it's out there that this was going to be provided. So I'm just looking for a little bit of direction from this board. It was in November that at a DDA meeting, the draft of it was presented. The former president was part of that DDA board. Our current president was part of that DDA board. On December 5th at the DDA meeting, all of the 2023 events that you guys have seen was approved. The permit was applied for. We came to the village meeting on the 21st of November. We talked about it. So it's, at no point has there been an outcry from the public or from anybody on the board saying, we don't want these, we don't want these. Because we certainly, of course, would have had the direction and the fortitude to take heed to that. But I did want you, if you could, look at the back, there's a stapled group, you'll see the map there. The only way that the only places, because the only things that we were looking to do was provide a little bit of extra relief that might be necessary. So you can see the red, I believe is it in red, Catherine? I can barely see your.
Food trucks are
are
purple or pink?
Pink, okay, sorry. It looks red from here, but that's okay. There would only be 3 on the, and you can see it on the last page as well, I believe. 3 in the doctor's office parking lot, so it wouldn't be closing a street just north of Masonic Lodge. And then 1 on the very south end and a tent in front of Old World Nouveau. We're very conscious of not taking away business from our we exist to, as you all know, we're kind of social media crazy people over here at the DDA, and we've really promoted them nonstop. So we sent letters out a month and a half ago saying, we want to give you first dibs. We did the same thing for Arbor Day, for Vintage Fest, for Screech Fest, and again for this one.
The DDA board approved food trucks?
Yes, as part of the
That's why
conversations,
I
yes.
was going over there too, so.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Did you have any other questions for me?
Well, no, I mean, you got them spaced out all over the community. I mean,
No,
I'm
2
sure there's
spots,
much we can-
just
I'm not-
north
I'm
and
sorry,
south.
not the community, but the
I mean, that's right in front of
area where you
jails.
are.
So
That's
of
their
these
jails
6
parking
that
lot.
are,
We can't just put them in one spot?
there's only 3?
Well, they certainly could be. I mean, you know, one of the compromises were, what you guys did approve for the event permit was the road closures around the village park. We had opted to have them, Madison and I chose to put them on just off Main Street so people could see them when they're downtown, and it kind of creates a community environment instead of wondering like, well, what's back there, and people having to go back there. So that was the idea of putting them. We still have those roads available to continue that road closure. We were going to just cancel that with the DPW and the police department. So they certainly could still, we could pivot and we could move them all around there. We could cancel them all together, but again, it's above my pay grade to make that decision because I'm concerned about the ramifications legally. And, you know, if people have already been investing in merchandise and whatnot, and, you know, going forward, we're all ears. I mean, I know we talked yesterday about forming a committee. You know, Marty was there, if I can say that, Deborah and Jessica. That's up to them, but I'll just say this, we want to, one of the things we're excited about in our new space is we are going to have the space to have meetings whenever, however we want, and so to have a committee of restaurant businesses, retail businesses, what do you want? What would you like for the next event we're going to do?
Thank you,
And
Elizabeth.
we're all ears.
And so going forward to your ask of a recommendation, from what we've garnered here is, I don't know that this board necessarily can do anything. It would be my recommendation that, I understand that the DDA doesn't have a meeting scheduled, but you can call a special meeting. 3 members of your board call it, and you guys decide at your board to change your minds.
I think it's too late to do anything about it.
mean,
Mickey,
that's up
did
to
you have
them.
something to say?
Yeah, go ahead. He asked you.
Well, we were gonna,
real
we're trying to
quick, John,
keep this
before-
to just
yeah.
not open comments.
Yeah.
Again, do you does
No,
this
it's not
board,
open comments.
excuse me, does this board have a specific question?
Yes, I have a specific question.
What is your question that you would like them to answer?
For Mickey. According to what Ms. Miller was just saying, are you in complete agreement with the distribution of these food trucks throughout the area?
Am I?
Yes.
Honestly, no, not in front of other brick and mortar that sells food. I mean, DDA is supposed to bring in the business to bring in people to help the local businesses. Why bring in just to take away? I mean, it makes no sense. My suggestion last night is, I have the public parking lot right behind the restaurant, the diner. Why can't we just put them all over there and use it? I don't care. As long as they are all together in one area, because the way it's set up now, JL's is gonna be affected. There are, the coffee, they have smoothies, they're all gonna be affected because that's the kind of trucks they have in there. I don't think it's right. We are the ones that give back to the community, not the food trucks.
I think our president just gave a pretty good suggestion that you guys could have an emergency meeting and get this done before next week.
Well,
But, the ideal of putting them all in one spot, I mean, that would be my thought too, but your director
that
seems to
might be
have
the only
something else.
out they've got, because I'm sure these food trucks have already invested in food and things like
Yeah.
that themselves.
I guess my concern for the DDA or Elizabeth directly is, this isn't the first time in recent months that we're backpedaling. And you're coming, well, I didn't know. I think we've talked about ordinances in previous meetings. So at some point, I would hope that the DDA doesn't keep putting the village in a situation where we've got to be addressing stuff that we shouldn't be even addressing. I mean, the ordinances are clear, they're there. We just need to get on a point where we're all working together and
The
following.
ordinances say that they can do it, so.
I don't know. The ordinance says they have to come fill this out, our ordinance, our application.
So
Yeah.
does a permit have to be filled out with you or with the DDA?
With the village.
Or the village? I was told that you guys voted on it twice already and voted it as a yes,
Well, we voted on the Winterfest,
but not the.
but no one
food trucks.
came and said, here specifically, we're voting on
Correct.
food trucks.
This is the first time we've seen it.
never
Right,
came
some
up.
of the-
This is the first we're hearing of it.
There was
Is
stuff
that the
listed. It talks about a snowman contest, chili cook-off, carriages, but certain things, but and the run, but wagon rides. It does not say food trucks.
And honestly, like I said, it's more sweets than anything. Is it gonna affect my business? Maybe a little, but if it affects one business in our community, then we should not have it. And there are multiple businesses that are gonna be affected by this.
Yeah. I think President Wozniacki said it the best. I think this is something the DDA needs to call a special and figure it out one way or the other, because we've approved the event.
We approved it
As
because
is.
the DDA board brought it to us the way that, to approve. So I think at the DDA level, the board needs to adjust it. I mean, we fully support you guys if
Yeah.
we could do it, but
Did
we
I
have
hear
to
you-
hand out a permit when they come in and request one.
At the last TDA meeting, did I hear you say, because all this information started coming in about. Yes, businesses not appreciative of this. And I think during the meeting, you said, as soon as we found that out, we stopped taking checks, we said no more. You kind of stopped because you realized there's a problem, so you probably have a few that are committed, and you're not taking any more, is what you said.
Correct, you have the, I'll just come up here and hug Marty, because we're friends. Yes, you have the list in front of you. If you go to the second page, you'll see, there's pictures of what they are. There's some of them are food, they're not all like, I was wrong, they're not all like, are those big thing, elephant ear
Funnel
thingies?
cake.
Yeah. So it's a variety of things. So, we could certainly, to make this easier for all, I mean, we're in the midst of a renovation of a brand-new space. My staff member is part-time. She's working overtime. I don't have the budget to pay her more than what I do. I'm working more than I'm supposed to be working. We're working on things because we've been forced to do some things we weren't prepared to do.
Gotcha.
We have these schedules and whatnot that need to get out. There's a lot of stuff that has to be done. So, you know, if the restaurant community would be open to it, although I wouldn't want to put the coffee one up behind you, just so you know. I would say, and yes, this does concern the whole village, this does concern this board, because, you know, we've been bringing these things to you. We've been following the protocol as it's been presented to us, as we've been told. So we've followed the proper procedures as we've been told. But there are things moving forward. There's you know, I've talked to our president right after she took office. I said we would like to create a memorandum of understanding between the village and the DDA that will clarify a lot of these things, to make it so we can have these conversations later on. So perhaps putting them around the park might be a good compromise, instead of where we were originally. But to call a special meeting at this point, I mean, appointments are being made here and a couple agenda items. I don't even know what the board makeup's gonna look like. I don't know where we would have those meetings, when could that take place, and so forth. So I don't know if that's a compromise. Perhaps we just have another quick conversation amongst the merchants. I'm not sure, but I'm happy to do whatever.
I think that's where it needs to be, is you and the merchants.
We had a 3-hour meeting yesterday. So I don't know if the compromise is to do it around the park or not. So, but I'm concerned about Romeo's reputation to do and then take away, and do it and take away. So,
Okay,
Thank
thank you.
Put it on the village,
I
that's on
think-
the DDA.
Are we gonna do any movement on this?
No.
Does anyone, okay. Let's move on to new business. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Can I just add one thing to that?
We're gonna move on. We're at 9:20 and our meeting's supposed to end at 10. We're gonna have to extend it, so just please bear that in mind, Clerk Trapp, that we'll have to make a motion at the appropriate time to extend the meeting.
I'll address that.
Okay. Our CDBG allocations.
We're on J.
Where am I?
J and K got moved to the top.
No, we're,
Resolution.
oh, okay,
Yep.
sorry, so hold on, I gotta
Agenda
move
adjustments.
back. Resolution to fill vacancy in the office of trustee. Well, let me find that. Move back here.
First of all,
No.
Mr. President,
First.
I want to say thank you for giving us all the information on all the candidates in our packet.
You're welcome.
J is first. Resolution.
Okay, hold
All right.
on, because now I gotta try and find this. I have it
I'm
all
Is it in the file?
organized here. Yeah, move it around. Let's see. Okay. Aha, okay, here we are.
J
So,
and K. I gotta find it.
J is resolution, right? Trustee to fill vacancy.
I provided for the council the reason for this. This is, that I'm suggesting that we take this step to begin with. Where do we want it? Okay,
So the appendix.
so we didn't want to move the, anyways.
Yeah, we moved
J
J
and
first and K.
Yeah, so we're doing the, to,
Because the resolution's gotta come before the next one, correct?
Right. Okay, so do you have your stuff? Okay. So I was doing research, trying to get, again, as much information as possible for everybody with how this all works. And this is from the General Law Village Handbook. A question is posed, does council need to declare the office vacant before it appoints a new trustee? And it says, it would be prudent to pass a resolution stating findings of fact, such as the reason why a trustee's office was vacated, such as due to moving out of the village, death, recall, default, etc. The resolution can end with the statement, council declares the office vacant. So this is, I had Mark, again, it's just prudent, it's just being very clear as to how this office is vacated in order to create this open space for the trustee. So I had Mark, or asked Mark to create this resolution. Two, whereas Megan Poznansky was a duly elected member of the Romeo Village Council, having been so elected and qualified in the election that included such office in November 2020, And whereas Megan Poznansky was elected to and qualified for the office of village president in the election held for such office in November 2022. And whereas Megan Poznansky's election to the office of Romeo Village President causes a vacancy to occur in the office of trustee on the Romeo Village Council, and whereas a vacancy occurring in the office of trustee shall be filled by appointment by the Romeo Village Council, with the appointee to hold office until the next regular village election as provided in the MCL. Therefore, it is hereby resolved that the Romeo Village Council appoints blank to the office of trustee. So we kind of Mark suggested we could do these two separate or all together. So first, we would like to
My question,
declare.
you said to the length of term of the office, shouldn't that be the
remaining of
or it'd be the remaining 2 years of your term?
Correct.
Okay.
The way this is written, I don't, Mark, for clarification, on the last whereas shall be filled by appointment. Does that leave out then if we don't come to a resolve and we have to we decide to go to a special election, does this then contradict doing that or the original ordinance or
I wouldn't
state
do a
law?
special election.
13?
If I understand your question, the answer is no. And if I don't understand your question, the answer might still be no.
Okay.
But
Just because the only wording in there says by appointment. Do we
Right,
have to do
because-
by appointment or?
Well, if the council, by law, the council appoints. So if you don't appoint, then the seat remains vacant. Now, you do have the ability to, by resolution, to call for a special election. I have some thoughts about that, most of which I will keep to myself. So this addresses the statutory means for you as a council to fill the position. If you don't do that, if you do nothing, you'll lurch on with 6 members. If you pass a resolution to call a special election, then you don't need to do this. If your intent is, well, let's not even appoint, let's just call a special election, then I wouldn't waste any more time on
Yeah,
this.
so I just wanted to make sure that was still.
Well, if you appoint somebody, you can't then call a special
I
election
can
to unappoint them or to elect somebody else.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution as Mark has prepared it for us.
Second.
Well, the way it's prepared, if I could, just,
Yeah, subtracting the,
it requires a name.
So that was kind of my point is also,
So this was.
can this
for the-
just be written to vacate the seat? Do we have to then put the appointed person in, or do we have to deem it vacated first before we do the appointment?
The answer is, by operation of law, the seat has already been vacated. Because the president and the trustee are 2 separate positions. They can't be held simultaneously by one person. So, Mrs. Poznansky, having been elected and sworn in, her seat is, as trustee, is vacant. This, in a manner, gilds the lily. It is a formal declaration by the council that the seat is vacant, and because it's vacant, we are appointing this person. And so you can separate it. You can have a resolution to vacate, but to me, that's.
We've never done this before.
Well, you have.
Not like this.
Not like this, not,
No, that's, that's
no,
true.
not formally, and as I said, and that's why I attached the front explanation. It's not a requirement, it's not required in the general law, but it is prudent. This just solidifies and puts it in the minutes and in the history that this is why this person was therefore appointed, the office was vacated for all of these reasons.
It memorializes how you got from point A to point B.
Well, I'd like to make a motion then. First of all, I'd like to say thank you, trustee Megan, for giving us all the information here, and this is something different. And also, I'd like to say our past president, Christine, thanks for establishing a, I know, I said a motion here, all right.
No, we've already got a motion on the table.
Oh, who's,
You seconded
well, that
the
was.
motion to resolve, or,
But that was the
So-
cart before the horse, though.
So we have to just
So we need a name to
kill
put
that
in there.
motion, right?
Somebody needs
First?
to rescind it. yeah.
So we
I
got-
guess it sounds like we have to go to K now.
Yeah,
So we have to
that's what I
rescind
was
your
jumping
motion.
into.
Yes.
I guess I'll rescind my motion.
And I'll rescind my second.
Okay.
Then I'll make a motion on K to appoint trustee Tad Siglo to fill the seat.
I'll second.
I think we should take somebody that the village actually potentially voted for, and that would be Nolan Cares. Nolan Cares, who finished fourth in the voting.
Okay, I provided for council here
course, my
in
motion
trustee
was up.
appointment,
Still have discussion.
the general village law, where it specifies in vacancies, that a vacancy occurring in the office of president, trustee, or any other elected office shall be filled by appointment by the council, and the appointee shall hold office until the next regular village election. All other vacancies in any other office shall be filled by the president, by and with the consent of the council. So this is where we're at with this trustee appointment. Currently, we have a motion on the floor.
This is discussion time.
Discussion.
And that's where I say, I think Nolan Cares put himself out there, put himself up for the public to vote on, and he finished fourth. So I think he should get more credit than Tad Siglo.
I agree. Ted Siglo should have ran for trustee if he wanted the job.
I did include for the council's consideration all of the people who did put in letters for consideration for trustee. One being Nolan Care, another Tad Siglo, another Brian Minton, Sharon Smith, and Angela Trombley-Goralski. Those were the letters of interest.
Looking at the
However,
resume-
in
I'm sorry, go
expressing the general village law, you do not have to send in a letter of interest to
No,
be
you don't.
considered. It could be anybody. That just let us know who wanted to be considered here. So those were the ones who did send in a letter, just for clarification.
Yep, and Nolan put himself out there for the public to vote on.
And looking at the
That's what
letters
he
of
does
reference,
support.
resumes,
think Parker-
his is the most
Did Parker support it?
I don't think so.
Sorry.
complete as far as to fill the seat for the short period of time. Being the ex-president of the village of Romeo, and he also put himself out there. So,
Justin, did you second that?
Yes.
you have a vote?
When this seat, when I ran for this seat of trustee and won that seat, I won it with 919 votes, support of the residents, far and above the rest of the people that won following seats. The people appointed me to that seat. I would see us appointing somebody similar to me. They wanted me to replace me would be the correct thing, would be to replace me with somebody similar to me, similar-minded. And that's what I would think, so.
I would think that things change, and I think, again, Nolan had put himself out there for the public to vote on, and the public voted him as number 4.
Discussion.
And therefore, they know him, he was out there, he gave talks, spoke to the people.
Do we want to call a vote, or we set our piece?
Yes, I have a motion.
Okay, could you call a roll call, please?
Can I just confirm that it was motion by Fowler, second by Parker to appoint Ted Siglo to the vacant trustee seat? That's the motion? Okay. Fowler,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Bartholomew,
No.
Edwards,
No,
President Poznanski.
No.
Motion fails 2-3.
I'd like to make a motion to have Nolan Cares fill that position.
Support?
Any discussion?
Anybody have anything else to say?
Edwards,
Yes.
Bartholomew,
Yes.
Parker,
No.
President Poznanski,
No.
Fowler.
No.
Motion fails 2-3.
I would like to make the motion to appoint Sharon Smith to this office of trustee.
I'll give you the second for the vote.
And she got fewer votes than Nolan, correct?
Yes, she did.
Only by 25. And also I would,
25.
I guess, I mean,
Right,
that really
but she
shouldn't be
is
an argument.
the
last
closest-
time the seat was appointed, Randy Seidel didn't even run himself. So your guys' argument based on that is kind of null and void because you voted for Randy.
and I would say that trustees on this board supported Sharon, believed in Sharon during election, had Sharon sign in your yard and campaigned with Sharon. I would expect, and I would like for you to continue to support Sharon. She is a qualified candidate who will do the best for the village.
And on top of that, I think Sharon would be a good qualified candidate, but my first choice is Ted Sigel. Sorry.
Are we good? Roll call?
Did we get a second?
Bills Fowler. President Poznanski.
Yes.
Fowler.
No.
Okay. Parker.
No.
Edwards.
No.
Bartholomew.
No.
Motion fails 1-4.
Make a motion to appoint Ted Sigel.
You already did.
I'll second.
Give me 1 second. Okay. Fowler.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Bartholomew.
No.
Edwards.
No.
President Poznanski.
No.
Motion fails 2-3.
I would make a motion to appoint Angela Trombley-Goralski to the seat of trustee.
Don't know her.
Motion fails.
Motion fails.
I would make a motion to appoint Brian Minton to the seat of trustee. The motion fails.
Okay. Motion fails.
We have now thrown out all of the names of those included in the letters of interest.
I would make another motion to appoint Ted Sigel, vacancy as trustee.
I'll second.
No.
Okay. Fowler.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
President Poznanski.
No.
Edwards.
No.
Bartholomew.
No.
Motion fails 2-3.
Okay, and from here, I would ask Mark Clark, where do we go from here? Do we have to appoint anybody to these seats?
You do
How does
not
this
have to
move?
appoint anybody. You do not have to appoint anybody tonight. I would recommend that ultimately you appoint somebody. If for no other reason, it may avoid 3-3 votes. That's not a reason in and of itself. Let's not exalt form over substance, but you don't have to appoint anybody. The statute doesn't say a time frame within which. You would have problems if you fell below a quorum, which you don't. You have 6 elected representatives, and so you can take a step back and have another running start at it.
What is the process, and I know you didn't want to give your personal opinion, but process for a special election?
The village no longer has the ability to hold its own elections, so I would recommend that if you want to consider that, you contact the townships and find out what their schedule for holding special elections is. You probably will also need to contact the county because they, I believe, ultimately receive the either the petitions or the affidavits for candidates for office. So I would recommend you contact all 3 of those bodies, find out requirements, timeframes, and cost.
Catherine, I know we spoke briefly. Were you able to get any of that information?
Well, to hold it, if we were gonna do an election when somebody is, like, the townships are not already have something on the ballot, per precinct would roughly run us with all of the expenditures that are involved, which is a lot, and it's about a 2 to 3 month process at least. We're looking at like 5 to 7 grand per precinct, and we have 2 precincts.
And does that, well, I guess we don't have voters in the newly annexed. 'Cause there's
That
no
is correct. We
residents.
don't have voters in the Armada and the Ray Township part of our village, but if that is to be in a special election, as in there's no other elections being held and the townships will have to perform those elections for us.
But if there's like a school tax or something like
Correct.
that.
The next election is scheduled for May 3rd, 2023, but at this time, I do not know which of the 2 townships are having any ballot items on there at this time.
And
Because
if
they still have time to submit
It
it.
would be less expensive then.
It would be less expensive at that. It would still be a cost, but it would be way less expensive. It would roughly run about $1,500 per precinct, I think, give or take.
Okay, let us move on. CDBG allocations. Catherine went through and based off of our calculations from the past year, we received $2,500 and we are mandated to give $500 right off to Chore. From there, based off of the requests and the amount that we have, we brought it down to a percentage. So we awarded McCrest $650, Samaritan House $700, Care House $350, Interfaith Volunteer Caregivers $100, and Turning Point $200, coming to our $2,500 allotment. We do wish I could give everybody everything they wanted. All of these are worthy causes that we appreciate what you do for our village and our residents. But
Need a motion on this, or?
yes.
Give you a motion for your distribution that you have written down.
Support.
Second. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Next, we move on to the youngers.
We gotta vote?
We gotta
Oh,
vote.
sorry. I'm trying to move. I'm like 20 minutes. We got how much time?
You can do it all in favor if you
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can I make a motion to extend past 10 if needed?
Second.
All in favor of extending past 10 o'clock?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Okay, our Youngers event permit, you have the permit in front of you. You have the drawing of what they would propose to close off in that back parking lot.
Hold on, these will talk.
It is their St. Patrick Day event from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. And they provided their insurance for us.
Same event, Glenn?
Same exact thing as last year. It's the same map format. Everything's
Outside electrical, are you bringing in generators or outside power supply?
So we're tap off. We've got power at the pole on the outside, so we just tap off of that. Yeah.
I would check that in the ordinance, because I don't think that's considered outside power, so I don't know if you even need the electrical.
Okay.
Moving forward.
Gotcha.
Okay. Motion to approve.
I'd make a motion to approve the
I'll support.
application.
Oh, sorry. And I'll support. Yeah.
All in favor of approving the event permit?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Good luck with your event. We have our budget amendments, second quarter budget amendments. How much, did you guys read this? How much do you want me to go through this?
Line by line, Megan, line by line.
Just highlights maybe for the audience. Good. Other than that,
I
no.
mean, there's a
If
lot.
I could ask for
Oh.
one thing moving forward, is whoever we're having prepare this, maybe put it, I know my eyes aren't great anymore, but a little bit larger, or maybe on a legal form, because it's super small,
Yep, okay.
super small.
So we have some amendments to make. There was different increases to things such as healthcare. Our treasurer took insurance. I'm not taking insurance. Most of it, if you read it, a lot of it is due to the 12.4% increase in healthcare costs. The fire department late fee, planning commission salaries. I mean, if we wanted to save some money there, you could take that. anyways,
I'll make a motion to approve the amendments to the budget for the second quarter.
Second.
could you call a roll call on that one though?
We're at that real quick. I know the amendments, I believe, and Shelley, I apologize, she's not here, but didn't she ask for some information back from you, Clerk Trapp, in regards to that late payment and how other ways that we can handle it? If our insurance, your insurance is able to?
Oh, sorry. No, insurance will not cover the late fee for us. I reached out to our insurance carrier, MML, and they said, no, that is not a covered item.
Okay.
That came straight out of the general fund?
Pardon me?
37 came straight out of the general fund?
Mhm. Oh, I'm sorry, we're ready
Yep,
for
roll-
roll call?
roll call.
Yep.
Yep.
Edwards?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Bartholomew?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
And President Poznanski?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Moving on, we have the rezoning of the 102 Church Street property. This came to the Planning Commission. Trustee Fowler addressed this at the beginning during his,
Yes, the planning commission came to the determination to request that the property owner join all the lots together before the council considers. And I'd like to ask Ms. McLean, I'm sorry, I'm correct. Yes.
do you have a specific question, Trustee Fowler?
Yes. The planning commission gave you an assignment where you guys, where are you with your?
Okay, good evening. Lisa Rapp, Main Street Investments. So, I guess I'd like to apologize for not filling out or going to Bruce Township to get the application and to submit it. I was, maybe unclear on the process. We submitted our application in December. We went to pre-planning in November, and Mr. Casson was there, and Megan was there. We submitted our application, and before he left in December, and he made his opinion, which was entered on record at the village, that the property was suitable. I guess I didn't read his recommendation, but I assume his recommendation was that the property was suitable to be included in the central business district. And then that opinion was then relayed to the Planning Commission. And the Planning Commission, after coming here and presenting and discussing, the recommendation to the Board of Trustees was that contingent upon the properties, the 4 properties located, yep, would be combined. And therefore, that recommendation would be sent to the Board of Trustees to vote. So my assumption was that we were waiting for the board to approve or deny the recommendation and the opinion of the planner and the recommendation of the Planning Commission that contingent upon making the 4 properties into one, we would be approved for Central Business District. So if
Sorry to cut
I
you
did
off.
that backwards,
Yeah, you jumped ahead a little bit. Get the properties joined together, then bring it to us, and then we can send you.
so that's what the motion was, or I mean, is that?
Yes. Yes, the motion was. Okay.
Motion by Hall.
No, I understand what the motion was.
Okay,
I'm just
all right.
asking is, I thought
Contingent
that
upon
was a
combining all
recommendation.
4 parcels. Yes.
I thought that was a recommendation to the board, and the board would then approve or deny, and then we would go and get the, I mean, there is really no risk to this board to approve it to be part of the central business district contingent upon the 4 properties becoming one, because if we never do that, then we can never be part of the central business district. So,
This is just
in light of
recommendation
time.
To the council.
Okay.
And my recommendation to the council is stable until she gets it done.
Can you turn your mic on, Zach?
Excuse me.
Thank you.
Yeah, good lookout. Yes, the planning commission made a determination and a recommendation, so I stick by the recommendation with the planning commission.
Do you have a motion?
Motion to table this until the information is provided to our village clerk, so she can distribute it to the council.
Second.
Specifically, what information?
The contingent upon the combining of all 4 parcels, and do you want me to list each parcel?
No, I just wanted
Okay.
specific, that in the motion, what exactly information they
All right.
need.
The
they
combining of
need
all
to
4
do.
parcels.
Okay. So that they're clear.
Yes. Yes, Lisa? Oh, I'm sorry.
So do you have a
Put my glasses on.
Hold on, we're not here, do you have a specific question for him?
No, I do not.
Okay, we're gonna continue to move on. I'm sorry, sir, we're not, taking your comment at this time. Okay. Is that your motion, was your motion seconded? Please, sir, please. Is your motion seconded?
Yeah, by Parker.
The approval to the village council contingent upon the combining of all 4 parcels. That's the motion.
Okay.
So you would like us to wait until it's combined?
Yes.
That's what you're asking?
Yes.
Okay.
Tom, did you have some support that would be valuable?
I have a question. I have a question for Tom. What did you want to say?
That's not a question. That's
That
not a
was a question.
specific question. Okay, could you please call a roll call, Clerk Trapp?
Fowler,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Bartholomew,
No, because I think we should be approving it tonight.
excuse me, President Poznanski.
I'm sorry. Restate that motion.
Motion was to table this item until the combining of all 4 parcels paperwork has been submitted to the village clerk, so I can submit it to the council.
Yes.
And Edwards.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-1.
Okay, thank you. Moving into annual appointments here.
11 minutes.
Again, a lot of information I provided to the council. Not only my suggestions for appointments, the history behind them, what each board or each commission, I went into our ordinances to remind us all what exactly these different boards do. Sometimes I think we lose sight of that and what exactly they're all called to do. And then I included the letters of interest for the people that did, that I chose for the appointments to those positions.
Madam President, I'd like to make the first motion. I'd like to put my name in as President Pro Tem. First appointment.
Is that part of this?
And
Yeah, I'll second.
1 second.
Tabled. Yeah, you're in my way.
I don't think you need a resolution for that. Isn't it just a presidential appointment?
No, it's a board appointment.
I did provide for you, again, the general village law on President Pro Tem Village Council appointment. On November 20th of each year, or as soon as after that date is possible, the council shall appoint one of their number President Pro Tem of the council. We have a motion for Pro Tem. We have support.
If support was by Parker.
Did you call a roll call?
Fowler?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Edwards?
Yes.
President Poznanski?
Yes.
Bartholomew?
No.
Motion carries 4-1.
Okay.
Thank you, Matt Edwards.
Moving on to the annual appointments. Motion to approve the annual appointments as presented.
Well, I was very disappointed in a lot of these appointments, to be honest.
When we're talking the annual, are we talking just the top of that sheet from
No.
supervisor down?
All of
To
it.
street administrator?
All of it.
We left off some very key people to their boards that they've been serving. Kelly Stevens, who had been serving as chairman of the Downtown Development Authority, is no longer on the DDA per this. Dave Miller, who's done all that work with the tree board, reinvented the tree board, is just left off, not even on the tree board anymore. I think you've got some people that really put their heart and soul into things, and you've basically just swept them away.
That would include Leo Hudson as well.
And
Leo Hudson.
I understand your concerns. However, we have a lot, to tell you, for the DDA board, for the 5 positions that were open, we had 14 letters of interest. We have
Yep.
people that
But
would
you have a
like to
person
step
that
up.
served on that board as the
Right.
chairman of the board.
And people can
therefore,
continue.
that should count for something.
They can continue to serve. We're bringing other people on, fresh ideas.
No, you don't have them listed here. They're not on the DDA.
No, you can continue to be a part, come to the meetings and be a part of it.
I don't have any direct, I don't even know the words I want to use for it. I like everyone that you're putting on the DDA, and I can't pick one person individual, I wouldn't, but I don't know how I feel about 2 residents.
The 2 residents are
Being- And like I said,
replacing 2 residents.
I have no issue with either one of those.
And given the rules, it is appropriate to have the 2 residents on
I
board.
can respect that, I'm just stating my opinion.
Okay.
So I'm very upset that you've taken all this experience and just thrown it out the window. And these people gave a lot of hours and really dedicated their time to creating what we have here in Romeo and as volunteers, and now they're just waved away.
And I'd like to add Diane Smiles and Chris Smiles to that list of awesome people that have lifelong residences that have worked very hard, especially with the cemetery.
Well, and I do not take this lightly that we are just disregarding that. You don't I don't have to, or we should not be looking to just repay people's good work. New people would like a chance to step up and volunteer in their community, and I'm trying to give that to them.
Was that your motion to approve the annual appointments as presented? Was
No, I
that
was just
you?
throwing it out there. Do we have one?
Oh, gotcha. That wasn't you. Got it. Okay.
Is there a motion?
No, that's what
No,
we're waiting
there's
for.
no
Does anyone
motion.
have a motion to approve the annual appointments as presented?
I'll give you a second.
Okay, I guess it is my motion.
Okay, it is your motion.
Could you please do a roll call vote?
Real quick discussion on this. With the DDA, I know we were all emailed, and I know some of us don't get email, a letter from Paul Bowers. Why was that not included with the DDA potential?
As I stated, I included the letters of the people that were appointed. I did
So-
not include every single letter.
So you weren't seeking any input from the board, this board then,
No, is a presidential appointment?
by and with the consent of the council?
Correct.
By and with. I'll leave it at that.
I guess I would just recommend that you take a second look at this. And not insult people like you're doing. I guess I would make a motion to table this for another month.
Support.
We already have a motion on the floor we have to vote on. Ready?
Okay, could you call a roll call, please?
Okay. President Poznanski?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Parker?
No.
Bartholomew?
No.
Edwards?
No.
2 to 3, motion fails.
Could we please have a motion to approve the supervisors, the chief, all of the top, our inspectors?
I'll second that.
That's supervisor through street administrator?
Correct.
Did you make that motion, Megan?
Yes.
You did? I seconded it.
One second. Just writing that down. Okay. Motion by President Poznanski?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Bartholomew?
Yes.
Edwards?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Do you want to go through board by board, so then I know where and when, so I'm not shooting in the dark of what board I need to?
I think that's something probably done outside of these walls here.
Well, if we're all meeting, it's gotta be at an open meeting anyways, right?
Well, I would suggest that you put Kelly Stevens back on the DDA, considering that's where she's coming from, and then Dave Miller on the tree board. And then
Then
you
say
had
yes-
some
Then you say
thoughts?
yes to this, huh?
Yes.
My thought with Kelly Stevens is we know how well she can do things. And given that I had 12 other people of interest, honing in her experience onto the cemetery board was what I was hoping she would take those 2 spots and hone it in onto that 1 and get us farther in the cemetery. That was my thought there, not to insult people.
Ask me a question.
How do you feel about this?
I have been serving on both those boards the entire time. I don't think my talents have gone from either side. I was the one that was able to implement the tax for the cemetery board, to bring revenue in, to keep that thing updated and moving it forward. So my talents aren't to one side.
So if you would want to make the approval of the DDA, who would you want to take off for Kelly Stevens?
Probably one of the
Can you
new
add another
people.
person?
No.
I don't, Daniel Lee, I guess? Danielle Lee?
About Greg Tar?
It's not up for option.
Deborah McLeod?
Yeah.
Thank you. Would you consider Mr. Bowers, Megan?
I would consider the people that I appointed.
I would, I mean, the email that he did send was very, very good.
Yeah. Like I said, I couldn't pick one person on that DDA to remove in order to add him. I think
I know,
everyone there is great.
These people were specifically thought of
just-
for
again,
all of
my-
their different backgrounds and information, and that's why, yeah, it is hard, because I had 12 people, and trying to form these boards, this is the
but
board
Ke-
that I would like.
Kelly Stevens has some unique qualifications in being also the chamber president, too. I think that brings a lot more than any of these other people could bring.
But again, who would you then not put on there?
I just gave you 2 names.
Danielle Lee or Deborah McLeod?
Yeah,
Andrew St. Laurent?
I think Deborah personally would be an asset to that board. I think she brings in a lot of knowledge.
I changed my mind on that, you're right.
Yeah.
I would go with Andrew St. Laurent or Danielle Lee.
Daniela is on there as specifically for a Tilson resident when it comes time to, we had a DDA issue this last year. That's where Danielle came in thinking Tilson Street.
I like Danielle, so she's been very involved with the DDA and the events. She brings a good.
And Andrea brings a whole wealth of behind her too. She runs multiple,
Right, the whole
yeah.
village or.
And I don't have anything against these people, I'm just want Kelly back in because she does an amazing job.
Yes, but other people can also do an amazing job. That's what I'm trying to say, is it's not a slap in the face to bring in other qualified people and to try and give other people an opportunity to serve their community. Kelly is on 2 boards currently, and she's the chamber. Kelly serves her community.
Yes, she does.
So
Well,
giving somebody else a chance to at least do one serving of the community, I thought was, who is also amply qualified, is a great change. It's not like Kelly is not going to be continuing to serve her community in any way.
I guess with that, Megan, to contradict it somewhat, you've got Brian Mitten and Andrew Hale both sitting on 2 boards also. So I don't know if that's a fair argument
Well, not every board
for
had,
that. So I guess I didn't quite, why?
not every board
why
had
Brian
12 people.
On 2.
So some of the boards
And
have
Andrew.
multiple because not everybody filled up the positions.
You didn't have enough interest?
Some of them.
Okay.
Also, in here, we do have, oh, good gracious. The System Park Committee. Did you guys look through all that to see that in there?
The park committee with
Yes.
Shelley? Yeah. I was
It's on a
calling
separate
Shelley.
page. Historic District Commission was on a separate page to reappoint Carolyn Seidel, Jennifer Conrad,
Yep, I saw
Randy
that.
Chirco, Sharon Smith, and then on our System Park, we have Nancy O'Brien, Bobby Chambers, Clark Stowe, Connie Rivard, and Shelley Rousseau as our liaison.
I'd make a motion to approve the Historic District Commission 3-year terms and the Sisson Park Citizen Task Force as presented.
I'd second that.
Good, we're getting somewhere. That's good. Can you call roll call, please?
Go through the separate committees here.
Yep.
And this is for the HDC and Sisson Park?
Correct.
That's correct.
Parker?
Yes.
Edwards?
Yes.
Bartholomew?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
President Poznanski?
Yes.
Motion carries.
I'll make a motion to approve Debbie Martone as an addition to the Cemetery Board.
Support?
Second. Oh, you support, second.
No, wait, you're second.
Sorry, you might run out of motion.
Too late. I'm making new as we go. Okay, motion by Parker?
Yes.
Poznanski?
Yes.
Bartholomew?
No.
Edwards?
No.
Fowler?
Yes.
Motion carries 3-2.
Okay.
Are we doing anything with the library? I don't know what we're doing.
The library board already established?
Yes, library
Yeah,
does not
library's
have
good.
anything up at this time.
Library's good, yeah.
We get a motion to approve the planning commission.
Second.
I guess my concern with planning, currently planning and not so much zoning, but planning would be if we do consider Mitten for the trustee seat, then that board doesn't fly as presented.
Or we could adjust it accordingly. It didn't seem like anyone had any interest in that.
Megan, was that officially your motion
Sure,
then?
that's a
Okay.
motion by me.
Can you read
Sorry.
it again, please? I seconded it.
To approve the planning commission, motion by Poznanski, second by Fowler. That's what was just said, to approve the planning commission. Roll call vote, Poznanski,
Yes.
Fowler,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Bartholomew,
No.
Edwards.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-1.
What do we need, zoning? Yeah, I'm good with zoning. I'll make a motion to approve the zoning board as presented.
Second.
Okay. 1 second. Okay, Parker,
Yes.
Fowler,
Yes.
Edwards,
Yes.
President Poznanski,
Yes.
Bartholomew.
No.
Motion carries 4-1.
I'll make a motion to approve the tree board as presented.
Discussion?
I need a second
support.
first.
Go ahead.
Discussion? This is where I would like to keep Dave Miller on this board. I think after all he's done to recreate this tree board and to make it a meaningful board again with all the moth cleanup and all that kind of stuff that he did, tree plantings and everything, I think, and he ran the tree board. He was the chairman of the tree board. So I think his name should be on the tree board.
I'm sorry, was that a motion by Parker and second by Poznanski?
Second by me.
Second by Fowler, thank you.
I mean, you're taking somebody that really put a lot of time into this, and again, just pushing them aside. Thanks, but no thanks.
I hear what you're saying. I don't see it that way, but I understand.
I agree with Matt. He's done an amazing job for us over the years. Why take him off?
Ready? Parker?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Bartholomew?
No.
President Poznanski?
Yes.
Edwards?
No.
Motion carries 3-2.
Okay, we're down to just the DDA,
Down which one?
to the Downtown Development Authority.
Make a motion that we accept the DDA as presented.
I support that.
1 second, give me 1 second.
Again, I think you're throwing away one of your most valuable assets. Just sweeping it aside for someone inexperienced. Yes, they might want to help, and I'm sure they're great people, but you're sweeping away someone with all that experience and, like I say, one of your best assets you've got in this village for that position.
Again, I hear you, and I understand that, but that is not how I see it. I see this board, all of these people bring their own assets. Kelly has served her time. She's done well. It's not that I don't appreciate her, but she also serves in other capacities. We have people that want to give their time.
In the past, people have always been allowed to serve as long as they've wanted to serve, once they've been on a board.
No, that's not the
Yes.
truth.
So you've at least been talked to.
No,
Yes, it is true.
no, it's not.
Nobody's just been thrown out.
Yes, they have.
Yeah, they have.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Are we-
Fowler? Oh,
Yes.
sorry. Fowler? President Poznanski?
Yes.
Parker?
I'll abstain.
Do you have a personal interest that would cause you not to be able to make a valid vote?
Yes.
Or a conflict? You have a personal conflict with?
No. No, I'm gonna vote no then.
Okay, sorry. I needed to know that before the vote. Bartholomew?
No.
Edwards?
No.
Motion fails 2-3.
I'm gonna make a motion that we accept the DDA authority as is, as presented.
Didn't we just vote on that?
Yeah,
We did.
Vote again.
I'll support it.
1 moment, please. Fowler?
Yes.
Poznanski?
Yes.
Bartholomew?
No.
Edwards?
No.
Parker?
Yes.
Motion carries 3-2.
Okay. Thank you. I will let everybody know of their appointments. You will need to get with Clerk Trapp for your swearing-ins. Okay, let's move on to some business here. Where are we? Trustee Parker, you asked for discussion, update of road repairs, and the plan to move forward.
Yeah, I just wondered where we were at, what the next steps were. I know the millage was approved.
Yes, the millage was approved.
Yeah, so looking for clarification on where we go from here.
Like I said in my president report, I'm meeting with
Yeah.
bond counsel. Okay.
So you kind of
So we're
summed it
good?
all up then.
Okay.
So I don't know if we need to go over anything else on that.
Okay, moving on to the DPW meter census auto gun. Upon coming in to office, I met with all of my departments and again was asked, could we please get the new software so that they could do the drive-bys. We've already discussed that the cost benefit there is still at the cost that that software is just not there. We wouldn't recoup the price of that in the 10 years that that software would phase out, and then we would need new software. However, I was notified that instead of taking the booklets and writing everything down by hand and then taking them into Chris, who then puts them into the computer, we could get these auto guns that they can walk up to the meters, scan them, which instantly puts it into a spreadsheet, which then Chris then takes and plugs into the computer and generates it that way. So we will be saving man hours by doing that. And also there's the possible discrepancies that could happen between the writing down and Chris looking at those numbers and her eyes going blurry and putting in the wrong numbers or crisscrossing into the computer. So Tim went and got a quote for us. This is only one quote because this is the company that works with what we, I'm sorry, Tim, with the software we currently have. Is that the best way to describe it?
Works with the meters we have.
Okay, so this is what talks to the meters. So this is why we have this company. If we wanted, where do we put it?
Basically, I'd be requesting 2 auto guns and one, so the total would be 10,700 instead of the, I don't know what quote you have in front of you, but it's the 850.
Yes, yeah. And it is in the budget. I made sure, if this is what you want, is this a possibility? It's in your budget, you can find the room. Yes, it is. So this is where this came from. Do you have any questions? A motion?
I think she's looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2 census auto guns in the amount of $10,700 for the DPW.
Second.
I don't know where mine went.
Okay. 1 second, please.
I don't know where one went.
All right. President Poznanski?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Bartholomew?
Yes.
Edwards?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, moving on to municipal analytics. Again, this was a good chunk of information I provided for you guys. I included the water rate studies and such, as we had a new trustee who didn't see that information. And I thought it was just a good refresher for us to see where we've come, how much work was done, and why we're continuing to go the way we're going to take care of our sewer and funds. But again, a lot of work still needs to be done. So part of that is renewing the software that helps us generate all of the numbers that we need to get to in order to reach our goals. That software is $4,990. And then I needed to ask you guys for more hours to consult with John Kasor, who is the professional in this area, who is leading us here. I didn't want to just leave it open-ended. I don't feel comfortable with that, so I asked him, would $5,000 get us to where we need to go? He's consulting with us. He is being very conscious of his time. He's meeting with us, our team, this week. So I asked for $5,000 not to exceed, which is about 30 hours of his time. So that is where we are at with the municipal analytics. So total being $10,000.
So what's on this page, Megan, or?
That was the quote that we received when I go back to try and find, can I just pay this on my own? I go back to the minutes to see what we were presented with. That was the 2 companies. So I'm just showing to you that we hired them at this time. If you look over at the cost, it was not to exceed $18,500, which we have made both of those payments.
So this
So
is
we are
just
out
what
of
we
money.
had originally.
So we are out of money to continue on this, and so that's that's what that's referring to.
I guess I'll make a motion to move forward with the municipal analytics software,
Not to exceed.
not to exceed 10,000.
I'll support.
Oops, that's 10,000. 1 second, 1 second. That was support by Parker?
Yes.
That's correct.
Okay. Edwards?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Bartholomew?
Yes.
President Poznanski?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, next we move on to the posting and recording of meeting minutes. I have for you a couple motions that were made, one in 17, one in 21, where we can, in 17, we continue to keep them in posted in a newspaper. In 21, we took them out of the newspaper. I am asking that we post a synopsis, not an entire meeting minutes in the newspaper, but that we would post the synopsis in the Record newspaper.
I'll make that motion.
Is this a political payback?
Oh, can I ask a question regarding the recording of?
For
the-
what?
For the record?
I paid for all of my advertisements in the Record newspaper.
Now, is this recording our minutes here at this meeting? What we're talking about?
Yes.
I say we leave it the way it is because it's free.
Well, it's free if we follow the ordinance.
Yes.
But right now, we're paying her $75 extra. Well,
Well, that's a separate, right now I'm just asking for them put in the newspaper.
Oh,
Is it
all right.
free? Yes, but is it transparent and in our residents' hands and is easily attainable? No. And that's where the newspaper comes in. And this isn't, Matt, you've heard me, I voted for it to be in the newspaper back in 17.
Yes, you did.
And I voted for it to not be published on an, taken
But it's
out of the
always-
newspaper in 21, which was
It's
all
always in the
before.
record, and as past election,
Right.
all that showed.
Well, that's your opinion. It's not the truth.
Was there a motion?
Yes, I did make a motion.
Okay, was there a second?
Yeah, I second.
Thank you.
I just think it's worthwhile, especially for some of our residents that aren't able to walk up to Village Hall and stand there in the cold, reading the minutes. I think this is a good solution. Keep it in a local paper where it's
It's a
distributed.
synopsis. It's not,
This is what we talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay, well, roll call, please.
Okay. President Poznanski?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Fowler?
yes.
Edwards?
No.
Bartholomew?
No.
Motion carries 3-2.
The second part was the recording of the meeting minutes. I spoke with the clerk about possibly getting somebody else to take the minutes. She said she was fine with that. I have asked Lisa Hall if, I've always liked the thoroughness and accuracy of her minutes. Lisa did say she is open to the position. However, the $75 that we have to offer is not enough. So if we were going to step outside of the current way they are recorded, we would need to increase that.
Why are we deciding to change the system now? I mean, what's wrong with the way it works now? Works great. So I don't understand why we want to complicate things.
Well, part of it is, if you've been here the last 4 years, the
And I have.
minutes are, yes, the minutes are corrected every month. And
Yep.
I've spoken with Catherine in coming in, and part of it is just a lot to do. So if maybe we could take this off, and get the meeting minutes, accurate, that's where this came from.
Well, isn't it in our ordinance that she's supposed to, I mean, it's part of her job as being clerk. to
It
take
is, and
minutes.
that's why I put the law in there that the clerk shall record all
So there
proceedings and resolutions.
$75 extra fee for her to do her job.
She's not asking for a $75 extra fee.
No, I mean, there was a sign, an extra
You voted for
$75 fee.
her to get a
Can you
stipend of
turn your microphone on,
$75
Zach?
to record.
That was for the planning commission?
No.
No,
it was
that's for this meeting, this board.
This board.
Right.
And I'm for her doing her job without the extra stipend.
Yeah. I guess then if we're gonna look to have someone else do it, then is that deducted from her salary? Will we have to pay someone else? If it's clearly legally her duty as the clerk to perform, if we're gonna have someone else do it or she's not gonna do it,
Well, yes, if the clerk was not to do it, the clerk would no longer receive the $75, or the person taking the minutes would receive the payment.
Well, the 75 was the extra stipend, so would you dig
75
into
was
the actual
never-
clerk's money, that's where he's at, as opposed to the 75 on top of it.
It's like you're creating a position that doesn't need to exist.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, we've all-
She does her job without the extra stipend.
Leave it as is?
Or
No
remove
motion?
the stipend?
Yes.
Can we make that motion?
Mr. Clark, can we make that motion? Is that a possibility?
You can make the motion to address the stipend.
To address the stipend? Okay, I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Mark, based on your understanding of 64.5 clerk's duties, line item 3, does that clearly say that one of her duties and it's part of her job, so we shouldn't have to pay an addition for her to do that? Is that,
The statute says the clerk shall record all the proceedings and resolutions of the council and shall record or cause to be recorded all the ordinances of the village. And you pay the clerk, that's one of her duties, or his, it happens to be Ms. Trapp at this point, but the clerk's duties are spelled out by statute, and he or she, the holder of that office, is compensated to fulfill those duties.
based on the salary that
Correct.
presented, not an additional stipend?
Is she receiving the stipend right now? Yes, she
She
is.
has been for
4 years, 3 years.
Few years, yes.
So
Whoever's
it's
the
basically
recording
part of her salary
secretary.
now.
an additional.
I say
To
we
be
just
here.
leave that the same.
Yeah.
Well, there was a motion by Fowler, second by Parker, but the motion just said to address the stipend.
To address or to remove?
I want to remove it.
Roll call, or follow your lead?
Call roll.
Okay. Fowler,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Bartholomew,
No.
Edwards,
No.
President Poznanski.
Yes.
Motion carries 3-2.
Okay, these last two items I put on for information, discussion. The mixed-use zoning, this is something that is newly introduced in our master plan. This is something that Miss Lisa Hall had mentioned that our plan allows for it, however, our ordinances don't. And at the same time, I have businesses calling, and even a business that came before the Planning Commission asking for this mixed use to be put into place. So I wanted to put it here, get you guys some information on it to start thinking about it, start talking to the residents about it. The next step we need to take in this is to get an ordinance. So our master plan talks about a mixed use, but right now we don't have an ordinance or a definition for what that encompasses. So our first step is to create that, get our ordinance in alignment with our master plan. And then from there, they can come and ask to be included in this mixed use or to allow the mixed use. So I just wanted to get you guys a heads up on that this is coming and get you information. This is from the MEDC. So that's what that is. Any questions, comments?
And we'll have more information on this.
Yes, especially as we get a planner. This is my best to kind of at least introduce it.
So no action needed at this time?
Huh?
The next planning commission, can I ask that you specifically help to restart the discussion?
Gotcha.
At the planning commission level.
Gotcha.
Mixed use,
Yeah.
zoning.
Okay.
What is,
See,
what
Congregational
is
church would be a good mixed use.
Okay.
Because that's where it needs to start.
Okay, so we need to take this back to the planning commission to start the ordinance and to talk about it. The next was the press release. We had an L&L press release. Just wanted this in here for all of us. I mean, we have a great thing coming our way. Investing millions, 65 high-paying jobs. Just wanted us all to see this and what's coming our way. Zach?
I beg your pardon?
Your motion?
Oh, yes. Motion to
To adjourn.
adjourn. Yeah.
Or,
I was reading something, man.
I was waiting for your motion.
I was reading something.
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Was this you?
Yes, you're welcome.
Try to call you, that's why I wanted to thank you.
Yeah, you and Shelley, I just, do all the extra